All right, all right. What is going on? How's everybody doing? Yo, Wolf. Hope you're doing well, dude. Southern Fly Guy, how you doing? Hope everybody's doing well. I'll get this camera angle set up. Let me know if the AC is a little loud. I gotta have it running, so I can always put on the noise reduction. I'll just turn off the music, but you let me know if it's too loud in the background, because I'd rather have it be no AC noise than AC noise. Just flop that over here. Boom. What's going on, Jen? How you doing, man? I just put some flies out in the mail for you, or a fly, and the rest of the giveaway winners that we're waiting. So from April and May, but it's June, and you know what that means. We got the Friday fly giveaway on Twitch. For all the Twitchers out there, we'll do the sub one first today, and then the follower one after. And for everybody on YouTube, we got a new video coming out on Sunday. It'll be the last video of the month, and whatever the last video of the month is, we do a giveaway. So probably for a Squimpish fly or anything. Any update on the new Sadati videos? Yes, I finally what do you call it? I need to edit them, which I'm probably doing this weekend. How's it going, Jay? How you doing, man? We got a, I have recorded, I brought Mark Sadati out here. I went and picked him up, and we recorded 2 versions, but it's going to be one video, but he wanted to tie a smaller one and a larger one of the rabbit strip jiggy. And then also a flash deceiver, which is his own, it was a creation that he worked on with somebody else, so if I'm not wrong, he talks about it. He did an introduction. We filmed it here and whatnot. So I got to edit that. Probably this weekend I'm going to start working on it. But I told him he's got to wait a little while because my YouTube channel, I didn't make videos for a little bit. So I was, because I was so busy roosterfish tying. So I was like, I got to catch up for a little bit, and then I'll edit those. How's it going, Colin? How you doing? Wolf, how you doing? Also, by the way, look, we can't have the chat on the screen. So that had to go. What do you call it? Do you guys, if anyone on YouTube or even here on Twitch, you guys know Linus Tech Tips? He's been around forever. One of the biggest, like computer and sort of talking about just technology in general, but mostly computers and gaming sort of stuff like that. But I think their channel on Twitch, they have a podcast, got banned or something like that, and it's because they're starting to enforce their guidelines more on Twitch about multi-streaming and having combined chats and other things like that. I don't really want to get into all of it, but some of it's kind of ridiculous. It's essentially you got to give Twitch more attention than anything else sort of deal. That's kind of the overarching thing. But anyway, so we can't have the chat. And really the unfortunate thing is that a lot of creators do and stuff, but it's really just if they don't, it's up to them on whether or not they want to enforce their rules. It's not like they really enforce it on everybody. They can just pick and choose if they don't like a channel. So we just got to be more careful and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways. So that being said, we are going to be tying some but that kind of, I saw that and I was like, damn, if they're banning Linus Tech Tips podcast or something, which makes a considerable amount of money. We don't make a lot of money for Twitch. We're a small channel. So they would probably ban me in a second. So it's better to be safe than sorry. YouTube has fairly strict guidelines about certain things, but they definitely are much more lenient in certain things with live streaming. But or less restrictive, I guess, whatever. But yeah, it's one of my favorite channels I watch. They have it, but it's they're Twitch partners. They probably have a direct connection to Twitch and this and that, and it's I don't know, whatever. It's all good. Also, so I got the AC, but I got it on Energy Saver. It's going on and off. So let me know if it's too loud, all right? I'll put the, we'll cut the, and also let me know if the music, I'm trying to I always, it's tough to get, the thing is I use a real physical mixer and with audio cables and XLR cables and everything. So it's hard for me. The sound on the mixer is different than it is for the stream. So just let me know if it's not too loud or just right, whatever. So we're going to be tying some flies for July. I have a customer down in Baja that I went fishing with off Block Island. He's going to be coming back at some point, and I told him, when you come back, you let me know, because we're going fishing again. 30, 40 pounders on the surface, eating sand eels. So I definitely want to tie some more sand eel flies, because I haven't had a chance at tying any flies for myself or just for fun since last Friday. So I've been working. You can see I got tails here. This is we got more kinky muddlers. Don't hear the music? Okay, I got it pretty low then. We could turn it up just a little bit then. I'd rather have it low though. All right. Tying some kinky muddlers for a guide out here. He explained he does bait and switch tactics for large striped bass. So I've been working on some muddlers. I just tied up a dozen surf candies for the local wildlife refuge. They do a charity, like an auction every year. So we donate. My mom donates a session of like holistic healing type thing. I donate generally like $120, whatever, dozen flies. So I got that done last night. And yeah, we've been clamming, getting up super early, which I'm not a fan of, but clamming's been pretty decent, so I can't complain. So go clamming for a little bit, come back, work on flies, videos, things like that. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, well, let me know if it's a good volume or whatnot. So we got size 2 Mustad curved streamers. I'm going to be honest with you, I really don't like these hooks anymore. I might stop using them. The finish on here rusts quicker than something like the Gamakatsu or the old finishes on the Mustads. They would corrode, the old Mustad C70 SDs. These will actually rust. So I have a foam fly box, and if I'm fishing and I'm fishing multiple flies and I just stick it back in the box while it's wet, then there's a good chance that it's just going to rust the hook point. And also, if you have loop knots, you cut the line, the loop knots there, you'll get rust. And this is any type of hook. It's if you fly fished a lot and whatnot, or fish in saltwater, you know what I'm talking about. But the finish on this hook, I really don't like. So they changed the design of the hook, the weight, and the thickness on it and everything. It's still not a bad hook. It's the same design, just thinner. It's supposed to be stronger. And it has this new finish on here, kind of like similar to like the Gamakatsu bait hooks and stuff, the chemical coating. So it's supposed to be slick and like really, it's their alpha point thing, I think they call it. So it's supposed to penetrate really well in terms of hookup ratios. But what I found is there's the best saltwater hooks you can generally get are some sort of like either nickel or stainless steel, something. Just a traditional kind of these silver looking fly hooks, saltwater fly hooks. So, and I forgot what these are. What's the finish on here? Tin plated. Okay. So that being said, I'm still going to use them. I have some, but I'm probably going to switch over to using mostly Gamakatsus now, which is going to be even more expensive. So it's one of the reasons why I love Mustad. Why they changed this hook? Dude. I don't know what the idea behind it was, but the old C70 SDs were, in my opinion, probably one of the greatest saltwater fly hooks ever designed. You get 50 of them for $10 or $12. Incredibly strong. We had customers, they only made them up to a 3-aught though. That was my only complaint. I wish they made 5 odds, 7 odds, 8 odds. We had customers catch 50-pound giant trevally on 3-odd C70 SDs from saltwaterflies.com and stuff. And they didn't rust. They just kind of corroded, almost like how, with almost like aluminum, how that kind of corrodes. So it wasn't that bad. You could clean the hooks up pretty easily, and it would just take some of the finish off, but you'd be able to fish them for a lot longer. I have some that are pretty old. And these, I fished them for a week or two with this sort of finish, in the way I've always done it, where I don't like, I don't always rinse my flies off in the sink when I get home. You know what I mean? And they rusted, so. Yep, I'm disappointed in these. We're probably going to stop using them. I mean, I have hundreds of hooks, though, that I bought, so I'm going to use them. But, and not severely, but, everything makes a difference, right? In terms of quality. And whether or not, like, a hook is usable, truly usable, in my opinion, for, like, large-scale tying or whatever. If you're just really, I think all of us want to use the best hook possible with the right price point. But so anyways, why Mustad change this hook, I don't know. They're like, we got to make a new slick Ahrex type hook or something. Like, these are what all the fly guys are using now or something. Like, I don't know what or they wanted to thin it down, or they updated their hook series, because they did change some of their hooks, the other Mustad fly hooks as well. But yeah, dude, I don't know. Rip. Greatest fly hooks I ever used, in my opinion. Cheap, could catch anything. So we're gonna tie some sand eels. I don't know. I didn't really have any plans. We did. What I would like to do is come up with, or just kind of tie various saltwater sand eel flies. So, hey, Paul Bridgers, how you doing, man? Sorry I missed you there. I hope you had a great week as well. Oh yeah, so if you guys are interested, we have for Twitch Prime and Tier 1 and 2 and 3s, ! play. You can feel free to join if you're just a follower. Later on, we have our follower marble race. First marble to land in the pit, that's a sub for the sub race, going to win a fly. Shipped in the mail in an envelope. Same goes for the follower one after. So for the folks on YouTube, we got a video coming out on Sunday, all right? But ! play, hop in there. I always leave it open for, I start the stream, the first marble race, have it started. You can type ! play the second you're in there, and then halfway through the stream, we're going to do it. We'll start up the second one. Boom. Unfortunately, I can't do it on YouTube because this is like integrated into Twitch. It's like a game with Twitch integration, so you could play it with chat, essentially. They don't have it for YouTube. And also, I would get banned if I did a giveaway on both platforms at once from Twitch, so that's pretty cool. So let's go ahead and get a feather here. I got brand new bag. This is how I buy my Chinese saddle hackle, by the way. I buy it from saltwaterflies.com, and for $22, I believe it is, you can get a 1 ounce bag. And I'm just going to show you this because when I'm tying hundreds of kinky muddlers, let's say there's 100 kinky muddlers, or rooster muddlers, I'll call them, that I need to tie. That means I need 400 feathers, and they all need to be usable. Something like this is not suitable for a, I mean, you technically could, but this is like a lesser quality feather, right? You know what I mean? Southern Fly Guy, you got to go to Twitch for the marble race, brother. Doesn't work with YouTube. These are like, look at the quality on this, and look at what you get. Look how many feathers you get. Now, not every bag's going to be ultra. This is like a, I mean, dude, this is like a, I've never gotten a patch this good, but this is what I buy from Chris. But, you know, not every patch is going to be picture perfect, but still, I mean, he's never disappointed me, so. I mean, just like feathers for days, dude. So this is how I get my hackle nowadays. I used to buy a lot of saddle patches. Like if I'm tying flat wings and stuff like that, I will. But I'm not buying like deceiver patches, A, because I can't get them. I can't get the ones I like. And these are perfectly suitable, especially for something like a kinky muddler. You want a triangle tapered feather. That's what Johnny Keynes talks about, so. I'm waiting to get the full recap from some of my customers. They're still down there fishing. I got sent tons of photos. I got sent videos of the guides going, it's a very good fly. So that's what I love to see. But. Hey, James, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Oh, thank you. I hope you have a great weekend as well. Speaking of weekend, does anyone have any plans for fishing? All right. I forgot. The whole reason we were taking this out is to get a feather. Now, I would like to find something I want to show you how you can find a variety of feathers in these patches, but this one's super consistent with just quality. But something like this can work. Even if you don't have a flat wing patch and you buy Chinese saddle hackle, just, you know, you can look for feathers like this. Now, for a sand eel, maybe a large ocean sand eel, this will work. But, you know, this is more of like, I would say, like if we're talking like, you know, flat, like larger flat wings, like 6-inch, 7-inch, you know, 5-inch, your traditional sort of like, you know, flat wings that you would tie. So I am going to grab a flat wing patch because we are tying sand eels. I'm going to put this hackle away because it's really nice. Just give me 1 second. Speaking of sand eels, did you see Sergio's video? I saw on Instagram. Yeah, I saw his posts on Instagram. And yeah, that's what you gotta love about inshore sand eels. Now, you know, it's over the years, that's generally what you find on the flats and stuff, but it's never like we get crazy sand eel stuff. So it seems like we're seeing more and more. But I mean, when I went out to Montauk, I mean, it was nuts. And Block Island. This is like wild stuff. Unfortunately, we don't really get that sort of activity by me. We traditionally really haven't had sand eels. They don't really come into the bay by me. And we do get them. You'll get them on the flats, but it's like they're fairly like small. They're very small and translucent. They're at times that's like a very hard bait to imitate too. But that's where I learned how to tie a lot of Kenny Abrams flies, because when sand eels do come in during the summer in small amounts and bass feed on them here in my bay, you know, you need a fly that has like literally 20 pieces of hair on it. Otherwise, you might not catch them when they're eating that. What's going on, Rockfish Buster? Get some. Hell yeah, brother. I do all day Sunday. Very nice. How's it going? There you go, Southern Fly Guy. You'll get it in there now. I may be traveling to LI in early July. I'll text you when my plans are solid. All right. Yeah, sounds good. I'll probably maybe in the afternoon when I'm done clamming or something. We'll link up or whatever. Then going to Fort Lauderdale for small tarpon, snook, and peacock bass. Oh, very cool. Is it like brackish water? Or is it just... No, it's probably straight fresh water, right? If there's actually peacocks in there. I'm not certain. Can peacock bass live in brackish water? Like tarpon and snook can? And brackish, for anyone that doesn't know, is a mix of salt and fresh. But in the Chesapeake, they have good years and not some good years. It's timing. Yeah. Are you talking about for the sand eels? Or are you talking about for rockfish in general? Yeah. Yeah, and Chesapeake's wild. Wild fishery. It's also one of the biggest spawning grounds, but you also have like an crazy industrial bunker fishery there and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, like this is something that's interesting is because I've done commercial bunker fishing here in New York for bait for lobster fishermen. We can't like commercially fish peanut bunker. You can't sell them for anything. But if you're using them for the omega or for the oils in there for like making vitamins or whatever for, you know, health products, whatever it is, like the Omega Corp does, then you can actually harvest peanut bunker. So that's the sad part is down there they'll actually harvest peanut bunker. But oh, hey, how's it going, Raft? Yeah, did you end up tying some pattern or something? The Kinky Mother, I think, or something, I think you did. How'd it come out? The sand eels. Oh, I didn't know, you know, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know you guys got sand eels down in the Chesapeake. I thought they didn't go that far south. That's interesting. I mean, it makes sense, but I thought they stopped somewhere around, like, maybe, like, Delaware. So I know they get them in Jersey, but... You know, I've never, like, heard anything about sand eels in Florida, for instance. But I guess, I mean, Maryland's not that far, the Chesapeake. The bass go all the way down to the Carolinas. Yeah. Yep. Good old Megacorp. But that was just another thing that could affect striped bass populations in general, or down there, you know, in that spawning ground. So they got a lot against them, you know. But fishing is very cyclical. That's something, especially just from from commercial fishing for like bait or for clamming or whatever we do, working on the water. In general, the ocean is very cyclical, and the marine life. There's good years, bad years, but there's overall trends and stuff. So, and just so everybody knows, they are thinking about a moratorium on striped bass fishing if there's not good spawning results in the next year or two. So that could significantly affect things. I don't know how that works. How does a moratorium work, by the way? For any of, maybe there's some older heads in here that know more about moratoriums. For instance, is it like something that states have to opt in, or is it a federal thing and then every state has to abide by it? Or is it like Maryland can be like, no, we're not gonna do that? Not gonna happen? I don't know, dude. I've heard a lot of things from different people that work in conservation, like law enforcement and things like that. Rumors and whispers that, it depends on the next couple of years of spawning results. But I mean, that would be, do they want to actually save a striped bass fishery, or do they want to like drastically impact the economy? Because that would have a huge impact on the economy up here in the Northeast. I would assume they'd rather just keep making money and just kill the fish to high hell. The people that are actually in control, but I don't know, who knows? Because there'll be a ton of backlash. But I don't know. I guess I literally make a living tying striped bass flies, but it'd be great to have a healthy striped bass population again, But I don't know. We'll see. That's just what I've heard through the grapevine. Now, I was just wondering, is that just like, is New York State and in Massachusetts and these states, they can opt in, and then some other states like, nope, or is it because I'm wondering if it's the ASMFC or something, it's some sort of federal law. And then states maybe, but, states can choose not to follow it? I don't know. People are too selfish, will sacrifice fish for their interests. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's wild. It's a wild thing. I'll tell you what, though. If you've ever... I'm 34, right? I was born in 90. And so I was doing a lot of striper fishing in the 90s. It was really good. It's definitely better than it was now. But talking to people who, fished through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and hearing, like... I'll tell you one thing. After a moratorium, you're going to be catching a lot of 36-inch bass, for instance. Because I think it was like anything over 36 you could keep. Or, you couldn't keep, right? No. Anything over 36 you could keep after the moratorium was the limit, if I'm not wrong. Like one fish or whatever it was. Right. So you'd get a lot of 36-inch and under sort of deals, and they just said the fishing was amazing. But I don't know. They also have, like, I feel like, striped bass in general could be changing their behaviors. You know what I mean? Is it that there's just not a lot of fish, or the fish just staying offshore because there's so much bunker, there's no reason for them to come in? Like, my local fishery has changed in the past 2 years drastically. Like, fish that I would, on cue, every year I'd catch fish at certain spots. Like, I'm not even seeing fish now, so. Is it water quality in my local area? Is it migration patterns? Is it a lack of fish? Is it that there's so much bait outside of the inlet that, they don't need to come in because there's just so much bunker and there's so much sand eels loaded way out in the ocean and stuff that they don't need to come into the bays to feed in, like we normally see? Or is it a combination of all these things together? It's probably a combination of all these things, right? Oh, there's definitely American eels in the Chesapeake. Oh, yeah. Yeah, eels are wild. American eels are one of the most fascinating fish in the world, probably, if you learn about how they go out to the Sargasso Sea and the eggs. So how does it work? For the professionals, do the eels go out to the Sargasso Sea and spawn there? Or do the eggs get washed out with the tides and then they go out and they hatch there and they come back? No, because I have glass eels here, so they have to like spawn in the Sargasso Sea and then the tides bring the eggs in, right? Is that how it works? I'm pretty certain that's what it is. It's a very interesting how they go about spawning and things like that. So I'm just gonna do single flat wing feather, because you don't got to get crazy here. Now what I'm thinking is we'll use squimpish hair for the bucktail section up front. What I'm just trying to do is I'm trying to tie the best fly I can for Block Island sand eel fishing. I'm not creating a new pattern. These are all things that have been done a million times, and we may combine two techniques or just swap out a material. So I'm not creating a new fly, but I want to come up with the Li Flies Mike, or the not the Li Flies Mike. Get my name out of there. Who cares? The Block Island sand eel fly, because it sounds cool. So I just want to see what is the best fly that I can tie for this sort of fishing, run and gun ish, just because of how the bass come up, come down. There's boat traffic, and you may only have a split second. You may only get one cast, so you don't want the fly to foul, right? It's a lot of like moving, blind casting. The fish blow up split second. You got to pick up the fly and you got to slap it down there instantly, and that's like your chance. And that may only be the chance that you get for like 15-20 minutes. Create a new variation of the pheasant tails. Ah, okay, interesting. Fishless in 2025 from shore. Yeah. I bet you there's people that are killing it. So, but it's just interesting, like, you know, I've been fly fishing for 20-something years now. In the same area, you know, and every year you kind of learn the lay of the land, right? So, I don't want to cry wolf. Oh my God, the striped bass are all dead. But there's something going on why, like, I'm not getting as many fish inshore as I used to, you know, throughout the year in general. Yeah, the thing is though, like, we already looked at it, like the amount of commercial harvest weight versus recreational harvest weight. I think recreational higher than commercial? I think it is. There's though we go back to this whole chart about, and look, I was like, no, all commercial fishing's bad before I started commercial fishing, right? That's how I kind of viewed it. Not all, but it's like, oh, they're out there killing the bass, right? Then I started commercially fishing, doing seine nets by hand, stuff like that, right? For shiners and bunker, right? You learn a little bit more. Of course, the guys that I work with are like, all commercial fishing's good, right? Or something. I hate gill nets. Gill nets, they should be banned in general for no matter what you're fishing for. I've literally helped people gill net for bunker, and you get a bunch of baby bass in the net. That sort of thing, right? I've talked to, it's where you put the net and how you put the net to avoid that. Look, it doesn't matter. It's out of your control. Gill nets are terrible. So I'm completely against that. And, like, ocean trawling out in the ocean is not necessarily the best thing either. Like the big trawlers and stuff like that. But, you know, like, what are the names of those? The fish traps that they have where it's like a net that the fish follows and then they get caught in this little thing. They just go at low tide and they check the net and you can let go whatever you like. That's like one of the greatest. That's literally just a fish trap. People have been doing that for thousands of years. But that being said, you know, it did open my mind a little bit more. And I'm like, okay, maybe not everything's bad. You know, especially when you meet the people that are doing this stuff and that have striped bass tags. You know, they're not all scumbags or something like that. But, you know, it's interesting. And then we see the mortality rates of like catch and release rates are supposed to be, catch and release mortality is supposed to be higher than the commercial or the recreational harvest rates. And it's just, I don't know, it's wild. It's just wild. We got to look it up though. I am curious actually now. Now my brain's going. I'm curious. ASMFC. Striped bass mortality, or no, harvest report. Let's take a look. Population abundance, overfished. Fish and mortality, overfishing not occurring. Is that it? Do they give us like, this is our, what's the name of that thing where it's like the forest fire threat is 3 today? That's what this is, huh? Hold on. That's not it. Assessment update. I'm looking for charts. Graphs is what I'm looking for. There we go. Smold key. In Quebec, you need, for a striper, you need to be between 50 centimeter and 65 centimeter. Really? The Gulf Stream moved? I didn't know that. What? Did it really? American eels are Chondromatous. Is that who you can live in freshwater and go in saltwater spawn? Yes, which is different than Andromatous or Androramus or whatever. I cannot pronounce it. We're not even going to go over it because we spent 30 minutes one day trying to get me to pronounce that correctly. Okay, what do we got here? It's from the ASMFC. Okay, so this does show commercial harvest is higher. Okay, that's what I was wondering. So we got commercial. The yellow is harvest, right? The yellow is harvest. The black is discards, which means they're trawling for fluke. They get a school of striped bass. They don't have striper tags. They throw a striped bass back, and they're dead, right? That's just how it works. Recreational harvest is pink, and blue is the recreational catch and release mortality. So you can see that commercial harvest is higher than both release mortality and harvest rate in general for recreational, but the recreational catch and release mortality is almost double than what the overall recreational harvest. So that just means some dude dragging a fish up the rock, smacking its head against the rock a couple times, throwing it back after like 10 photos, sort of deal. And then the black up here, which is the highest overall, which is still, it's a small percentage, but it's higher than the commercial harvest, is the trawler, whatever it is, discards, the gill nets that are, they have too many tags and they just cut the fish up and just get them out of the net so they could leave early, you know what I mean? Sort of deal. Now what I'm wondering is, they showed one where the recreational catch and release was higher than all of it, right? Wasn't it? Or what? This was the chart that we looked at that time. We had that discussion about. This is 2023, or this is essentially 1980 something, 83, I think. So estimated reduction in total removals for various size limits in 2025 for the ocean Chesapeake Bay. This means how the size limits could affect the population. These are closures or something? Wow, there's a lot of info in here. It's a lot to go through. I just want to look real quick. Total recreational removals by region separated into waves 2 and 3 and 4 and 6. So this is in a bay and this is in the ocean. So you could see, is this the right one? Yeah. So you can see there's less harvest in the bay compared to the ocean. That's actually kind of interesting. If I'm reading that correct, I think it is. No bunker, no fish? Yeah, well, I tell you what, man. That is one thing. They are doing a pretty good job with Menhaden. They need to do a better job. One of the guys that I actually was working for kind of helped pioneer the bunker fishing in New York and kind of helped pressure the states to give like Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut more percentage of the bunker fishing. We got like, what is it, like 1%, and like Maryland gets like 40% or 70. I forgot what it. They had like so much of it, it was ridiculous. So a lot of the smaller scale commercial fishermen for bunker in various states got together and were pushing for other states to get at least a sliver of percentage because I think Jersey gets like 20% or 12% or something, and Maryland gets like 70% of the total amount of bunker that are allowed to be harvested every year. New York State gets like 1.6%, or it's 0.6%, something like that, which is like 3 million pounds. We're allowed to harvest the entirety of New York State for the year, you know? And then Maryland or whatever gets like 70%. That's because the Omega Corp, right? So it's been reduced down, though, over the years because states and the ASMFC and organizations like the Manhattan Defenders have been fighting against it. Things like that. So I will say our local bunker populations off the south shore of Long Island are unbelievable. This year there's not as many bunker, but the past 2 or 3 years, we saw it when I went out shark fishing. There was so many millions of pounds of bunker out there that we didn't see previously. So they're definitely, we're seeing the results of conservation and work and them changing and the regulations and the percentages and whatnot in terms of the fishery. So that's pretty interesting. I grew up, I never saw stuff like this. This is like National Geographic levels. So that is really cool to see. But a bunch of ships off Delaware and Jersey heading to VA to unload. Yeah. Oh yeah, so these ships, like what we do is we use 25, 26-foot Carolina skiffs that we trailer, you know, from town to town here, and we just launch at the local boat ramp, and we use I don't know how many 100-foot seine net with a bag, and one guy holds it, the other boat goes around it, and we pull it in by hand, and then we have to unload it with a little boom arm on the boat, right? These guys are using boats that they like live in, essentially. They have helicopters that look for the largest schools, and they can go up, and I mean, they can literally get like the New York State quota in a day or two, essentially, with these boats. And they'll go to places like Jersey, Delaware, things like that. They can't come into New York State waters, but they are not allowed, but at least as far as I know, they're not allowed up here. But yeah, Jersey's the next big one. Jersey gets the largest amount of bunker after, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with, like, they probably have ties up there or something like that, you know what I mean? So it's interesting. But yeah, it was, you know, after I started doing some commercial fishing, you learn not all commercial fishing's bad, right? I actually had a really great guy who works for the Manhattan Defenders, or is, like, runs it, which is the organization. Somebody, like, called me out, you know, quotation, called me out. It was like some account or something. It was like some account about Florida idiots, and they were like, "Well, you're a fly fishing guy, but you bunker fishing, huh? Good job destroying the environment and killing bass," or something like that. And it was just funny because I was just like, "Wow, okay." So I had a little conversation with this guy, we'll say, in my post. But the person who is part of the Manhattan Defenders came in and said something. It was really nice. He it was very, like, well, he did it a lot more. He wrote it a lot more eloquently than I could. But essentially what these sort of organizations are doing is, the whole idea is you want to be able to have you want people to be able to commercially harvest fish, right? You want people to be able to recreationally harvest fish and everything and still have healthy populations. That's what they're fighting for. They're trying to fight against these corporations and stuff like that. But it's interesting because a lot of people have this, and I had this mentality too, because I grew up fly fishing and being very diehard about conservation. I've never kept a striped bass once in my life. So that just shows you how dedicated I am to striped bass conservation. And I love them. There's one of my favorite fish to eat. But I forgot where I was going. But yeah, so anyways, it's so, you know, not all commercial fishing is bad. You know, I just want to get that point across. It's funny because we'd be bunker fishing and some dude would be like, literally some guy drives by because we're like bunker fishing right by like a boardwalk essentially. So like people would be sitting on benches and watching us and like filming us, and like some dude would be sitting there smoking a cigarette just watching. He's probably like, what the hell are these guys doing? The whole process that we're doing. But people would drive by, they'd be like, stop killing all the bass, jackass, you know, or something like that. And they don't even realize we're bunker fishing. They thought we were literally like netting bass, and that all that was bass. So it's interesting. I've had the thing. I don't know why. Oh, you deleted it. Okay. You just type something. You didn't get timed out or something. That's all I was wondering. It's a joke. Is a joke at the mouth of Chesapeake Bay. Omega is netting all the bunker there, and there are dolphin in the bay now looking for food. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, you gotta watch out. They're gonna send the assassins after us. Let me see. Do we have white hair? That's like this year's sand bass and barred sand bass in the trillions, pushing all kinds of fish to shore. I guess the old timers say we get this migration on average every 17 years. Wow. Oh, so the boats are going nuts. Oh, interesting. Are they like decent size, or are these like, they kind of look like Corbina or perch? Is that what I'm... Or are they bass? They're like the white bass or something they call them. Coming back from San Diego to Long Beach with 1,000 to 1,200. Oh my God. Sheesh. Oh, you're talking about these like the commercial boats or something? Yeah. I don't know. I tell you what, you got to try and stay positive, because in terms of just overall, terms of conservation, or just terms of like animal life on this planet, it's only going to get worse over however many years. But so let's I mean, we really got to do what we can to try and do the right thing when it comes to conservation for striped bass, and still, like, you know, you don't want to kill people's livelihoods and all that, right? But we still got to make sure that... God, my voice is getting shot because I was screaming on the boat. It's like blowing 30 miles an hour, like, what? You know, talking to Aiden. You know, I am a little worried. As somebody whose sole livelihood is based off of marine life, particularly striped bass and hard clams. The hard clams I'm not worried about. Until they start... As long as they don't allow people to build, like, golf courses right on our bay here and start pumping sewage into it, we'll be okay. But, yeah, I don't know. Cattle boats? Are you talking about, is that like is that a term for like party boats? Where there's like 50 people fishing with rods off it, just dropping it down? 4 to 6 pounds? Oh, wow. Interesting. So they're fairly decent size. Yeah, we call those like party boats up here in the Northeast. I'm assuming that's... Yeah. You call them cattle boats. Why? Because they load them up like cattle on there, like 50 people. That's what I'm going to start calling it, dude. Like, we have boats like the Shinnecock Star and all these different boats here on Long Island, or the Viking Star and all. That's what it's almost always something with a star. And you'll see like 50 people crammed on there, and they all have fluke jigs, and they're all jigging. And there's this, I always laugh because I picture like that boat going by a fluke, and there's literally just like 50 jigs and teasers all bouncing up at the same time. You know what I mean? They get mad. Dude, I work on a clamming boat. Do you think we're the cool guys on the water? We're like, you know, we come up, Aiden's blasting like Biggie Smalls, and he's got like heavy bass in his little boat. So we're going under the bridge, and it's like, party and boat is boom, 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 and we pull up to the boat ramp, blasting music. You know, I get out there with my Costa glasses, my Grundens camo. Ladies, watch out. You know what I mean? But everybody probably just thinks we're jackasses. Is what it is. Dude, we are out there working every day. Like, this is our job. You know, we don't care. Like, the boat ramps, you know, like the... It's like your cubicle almost, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, whatever. Hey, what is some guy's like pulling up and is like, can you give us 5 minutes? Like, we'll literally pull the boat out in 30 seconds, but something tells me you're going to be here for an hour. Do you mind if we go real quick? I've had to tell people, like, listen, dude, no offense. Either you got to launch this boat right now, brother, or you got to pull up and you got to figure out what's going on, because you got to get your boat ready for when you, like, you can't just pull up, get your boat on the boat ramp, back it up, and then start getting the boat ready for 20 minutes, especially at a busy boat ramp. But people do stuff like that. It's extremely inconsiderate. And I've had to go up and be like, dude, listen, drive up, pull up 100 feet, get your bumpers ready and whatever you're doing, because there's like 5 people that are trying to pull their boats out of the water right now. We can't be waiting, you know what I mean? And if you need a hand, I'll totally help you. Like, whatever you want, like, whatever you need, back it up. You're having an issue getting the trailer straight, whatever. You know, I try not to be an asshole, but there are times where people are like just literally sitting there, and I've just been like, all right, dude, this is enough. Enough's enough. You know, shit or get off the pot. Because I'm telling you right now, when the other clamming guys show up, they're not going to be nice. They're gonna start yelling at you. These are like guys. These are the rough guys. We're the young cool guys. You know, listen to Biggie Smalls. Chesapeake numbers are down. Stripers. Invasive species. Are you saying this, the striper populations are down due to invasive species? Oh, dude, I think I saw something on this. Freaking, was it snakeheads? Don't snakeheads target striped bass fry or something like that? I saw a video of these dudes, and they were in, like, trash water somewhere. I don't know if it was Maryland. It was just, like, garbage everywhere and stuff, and they were gigging, you know, where you spear, essentially, a, snakeheads, and they were talking about how they eat the local striped bass. Ah, interesting. What do you call them down there? Head boats? Interesting. Yeah, man, snakehead. We're lucky we don't have them all on Long Island. I think they have them in parts of upstate New York, but you want to talk about one of the most destructive invasive species. I would say probably, though, the most destructive invasive. Well, actually, this is a good question. It's probably something that happened a while ago that we don't even consider. But I would consider probably those Asian carp, right? That's probably like one of the worst invasive fish, like disasters we've had. Imagine driving down the river and you're just getting a 30-pound carp launched out of your head or something like that. I remember watching that and I'm like, dude, imagine you bought a house on that river and you're like, man, I can't wait to go fishing every weekend. You got to wear like a plate of armor, like a suit of armor, medieval times, to get out of the creek. But yeah, I know the snakehead's pretty bad. It's amazing, dude. One person releases one, you know, as like a, what was it, like for Chinese New Year or something, they think, or some sort of tradition from Asia. Yep. And it's not just, you know, animals. It's also plant life. We have our river, one of my favorite places to go bass fishing. You can only fish it from wintertime, essentially. It's one of the only places you can fish in the winter, even though it's like most of the river's frozen. You can technically fish it up until about like May. Then it gets so hot, and this invasive, I don't know the name of it, but there's this invasive plant that got taken hold. Somebody launched a boat, took their boat somewhere out of state or up to another lake upstate, where who knows where they went. And there was a tiny piece of plant stuck on there. They came back, launched it, went fishing here, and this invasive plant species took over. It's some sort of like weed. I forgot what it's called. But, I mean, there's a point to where it grows so much to where it carpets out the entire river and it just kills everything in it. And just the oxygen. I mean, the fish survive, but it's like the fishing's non-existent. The oxygen levels are so low. The water probably becomes almost anaerobic because it's just like, you know, it's, I don't know, it's... But I didn't think it was that bad, and then I went, because we saw signs. They were saying, like, if you take your canoe here, you have to wash it, you know, before you go to another lake. And we were like, what's this? And, dude, I went there during the summer. It was one of the craziest things. I was like, wow, okay, yeah. Well, this river's done. GG. Unless you kill it, like you just poison the entire river, there's just no way. They do like, they get groups together and they clean out the weeds every year. It just, you can't get rid of it. It's like bamboo. It's like impossible. Just gonna spread this around a little bit. So I want to use Squimpish hair more. I'm trying to use it more often and not hollow tie it. You know what I mean? It's a great alternative for hair and for bucktail and stuff, for just tying like a fly like this. It doesn't need to be hollow tied, right? So I'm curious, like, is it going to foul more? Is it going to foul less? Is the fish going to eat this more than one tied with bucktail? Is it going to sink better? So that's something to think about. If I tie this fly with bucktail, it'll sink slower than a synthetic fly. Now, it's not as obvious when it's a fly like this as opposed to a 12-inch Sadati Slammer. But that is something to consider, you know what I mean? For the first time last summer, I saw that glowing plankton. Are you talking about the glowing jellies in saltwater that we get in the bay, Lou? I think I've pointed them out on stream before to you guys. We get these glowing jellyfish. And that's one of the things that the guy that I was fishing with, commercial fishing, he said that's a great indication for whether or not we have the bays healthy. Is if during the summertime or in general, you see the bioluminescent, they're very small, they're like this big, essentially. But these bioluminescent jellyfish, because he told me, like, in years where the water quality is really bad, they don't come in. Now, it could very well be a glowing plankton. Is this in saltwater or where? Let me actually look it up, glowing plankton. Let me type bioluminescent. By the way, I have to Google it because I'm letting Google fill in the luminescent part. Let me use this to... So this is my modern day, you know what I mean? We've become so, like calculators, like you don't even need to remember basic math skills. Well, you do, but you get what I'm saying, right? I'm like starting to forget how to spell certain words. I don't know if I ever knew how to spell bioluminescent in the first place, but so I'm going to use this whenever this happens in my modern day life as an adult. And I'm like, oh, is that how you actually spell that word? I like to let Google teach me how to spell it. So I'm going to try and remember how to spell luminescent now. So L-U-M. It's also one word. So luminescent. Got it. So I didn't look up. I was looking down at my keyboard right there. Bioluminescent plankton. Also, is plankton 1-O? It is. I'm also trying not to use the AI overview. Even though it's so nice, it's also going to try and take my job over one day as a fly instructor. You know what I mean? Also, let me check something. Let me make sure there's no, like, dicks or something. Yeah, there's bioluminescent plankton. It's interesting. Look at that. Oh, in Sag Harbor. Oh, that very well may be the bioluminescent jellyfish, which I'll also just show you guys real quick. Here we go. That's them. Here we go. Not these guys. We don't get these. These are way too cool. That's what we get right here. It's a comb jelly or something like that. Little guys, just like this. And you literally see them glowing. And they're like purplish, bluish, greenish. They're like more like a green, neon, rainbowish green. And you'll see them. And when you drive your boat through the water, you walk with your waders, the water just like lights up. It literally looks like something out of a movie. It's pretty cool. Now, it's not like, whoa, the water's like, it looks like aliens, but you see the like jellies reacting to the movement. It looks really cool. Probably be really cool to swim at night in the bay back there or something, you know what I mean? Yeah, that's definitely what that was. That's a very good sign, you know? The water's healthy back there. It was like the sand glowing inshore. Interesting. Well, no matter what, that's always a good sign. In freshwater, the trout streams are all contaminated with Didmo rock snot. Oh, is that also an invasive thing? Oh, blue catfish, huh? Man, it's always crazy. I've never catfished before. I remember like Fuzzy and some of the other guys that streamed on Twitch, streamed fishing, because there wasn't many people streaming fishing 6-7 years ago. 8 years ago. They would do some catfishing at night, and man, it's a big fish. We don't have catfish here, or at least on the ponds and bays that I fish at here. Alright, let's throw some eyes on here. First we throw a whip finish. Yeah, we've been taking our time tying this fly tonight, huh? Hopefully you guys don't mind. I get this is the fun thing about live streaming, right? Is if you want 30 minutes of in-depth one-on-one, or essentially like detailed instruction on how to tie a particular fly in 4K, you can watch that on my YouTube, right? But I like to take the time during my stream to just like chit-chat and tie flies and stuff. But most of the time we get off topic while I'm tying a fly and we just start talking about stuff. By off topic, I mean I'm not like, alright guys, now we're gonna take my squimpish hair and I'm gonna tie it on top. You know, like that. Okay, now I'm gonna tie some on the bottom. I like to think that most of you guys and gals or folks understand what I'm doing for the most part. But that being said, we're ever chit-chatting about glowing jellyfish and you see me fly tying, be sure to ask a question about the fly I'm tying at the moment if you have one. I'll gladly answer it. Because every once in a while I'll remember, oh yeah, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, right? Tying flies. It's kind of just more like the Li Flies Mike fly tying Friday night podcast ramble. You know what I mean? Alright, we're going to throw, now, something that's interesting, you can do flatwing surf candies. Love them. Tie them a lot. But we're just going to go with the head, because I like having the material being a little bit more free, less restricted. But yeah, that's interesting. So, yeah, I don't know. I've never seen the glowing algae. Maybe it could have been. Maybe it was the jellies, but I was actually back in Sag Harbor. I think it was last year. We were looking for steamer clams. And it was fun. I've never been back there in a boat, really. Going through the harbor in Sag Harbor, past all the yachts of people that are rich enough they could buy us in chat and the streamer. like Dubai money, you know what I mean? These yachts are crazy. Like Steven Spielberg yachts or something you'll see there in Sag Harbor particularly. It's pretty wild. We're going by in our bunker boat or clam boat. Covered in like, you know, whatever. You smell the old clam. You smell the old clams as we're driving by. But it's cool, especially going back in the creeks and stuff and the houses around there. There's you'll get everything from cottages that were built probably in like the 1800s, essentially, next to modern day like Nickelodeon chic houses. You know, where there's like the entirety of the house is glass. It looks like on the one side, like there's no curtains or anything, like even at the bathroom. You're like, okay, these people are that rich. They want an entirely clear house. They're like, we want the bathroom to be nothing but glass to the water side. Because there's these guys, they come here clamming every day. I want them to watch. Yeah, the South Fork Salt Stomping Grounds. I bet you he's flown a drone over us on Mecox a couple times. The McMansions. Yeah, a lot of them are nice. We end up talking to a lot of people. But every once in a while, it's like you get people that are high on their own farts. You know what I mean? Make that much money. But generally, people are always, they're generally interested when you're back there clamming and stuff. They're either gonna call the cops or, you know, whatnot. Fish on. All right, Rockbuster. Land it. Get the net. All right. Yeah, I'm digging it. Nice, simple. I like using the squimpish hair. You know what I mean? Let's get a little close up here, shall we? Now, talk about a close-up. So this is kind of the color that these sand eels were, by the way. So this is going to thin down, like, when I'm stripping this, and there's a 30-pounder behind it. I'd say that's pretty much where you want it for the sand eels, you know? Maybe a little less material. You could always thin it down. I like it, though. Also, I'm tying more of these because the last 3 that we tied last Friday with the olive and orange, or the orange colors on stream, I sent out for the giveaway winners. So I was like, oh yeah, we need flies for the giveaway, don't we? Oh yeah, okay. So I gotta tie more. I like it though. Looking good. Alright. When should we do our marble race? I guess we could go ahead and nah, we'll wait. We'll wait longer. What time is it? 7:41. I'm not working tomorrow. I'm gonna try for at least 2.5, 3. I don't want to stop, you know. I want to do longer than a 2-hour stream. So let's wait a little bit. And maybe what we should do is let's take a look at the Discord. It's been a little while. I want to see what you folks have been up to, fly-wise. So, because I'm thinking about when we do our marble race, the first one that's got everybody joined up. We'll do that here in a little bit. But let's take a look at the Discord. I want to see what any fishing photos or fly tying stuff you guys have been posting. Let's take a look. Okay. Also, if you guys haven't, be sure to check this out. We got the new, you gotta love it, ads in my own videos, right? We got the new Shady Lady Hollow Fly. So this is what I was fishing when I went out, what, a week or 2 ago out to Block Island, caught that nice fish on. Which, you know, Shady Lady squid fly I've been tying for years, and I love it. Classic Bob Popovic's fly. But we went ahead and took some hollow ties and ostrich hurl. Kind of did like an ostrich hollow on the front of it. So check this out and give it a watch. And we also, of course, got the Djibouti show, one of my favorite streams, by the way, to watch. We got the Kinky Muddler squid as well. So if you guys are, you know, trying to get squidded, I got you. All right, but I'm probably gonna do a sand eel video or like a hollow video. We'll see for Sunday, and that'll also be a giveaway thing too as well. So, I mean, dude, check it out. Synthetic surf candy. Oh, it's up to 20,000. Sweet. Fine. First video up to 20,000 views. Not too shabby. I like it. But that being, I gotta pump out some more videos, man. I'm so busy tying all those rooster muddlers and this and that. You got some flies from Kenny? Nice. Yeah, I started tying for him last year. And we're doing most of the time. I gotta bring more flies though. I'm actually working on some stuff for him. He like hit me up. He was like, I need flies as an emergency. So I just used whatever I had on hand and tied. But I ordered some more stuff recently, so I gotta actually tie some more stuff for him. So, but thank you for going and supporting your local tackle shop, and me in the process as well. All right, the Discord. That was what we were gonna do. My bad. Let's take a look. Where do we leave off? Let's see. Craggerroll. Did we see? We might have, but we're going to take a look anyway. Let's take a look. We'll start. Yeah, there's Sunny Kim with a nice wiper, by the way. Check that out. Hell yeah. It's crazy how these fish look so different from our striped bass because they're a mix of white bass and striped bass. You could see the white bass shape. That hump, right? They're like so much more like switch top and bottom. He did switch locations. He's over in Southampton now. Yeah. It's a better location for him, I think, Lou. I think he's going to do better there. And he's close to the ocean over there, which is where all the guys surf cast, so. Craggerol, very nice. This was in India, right? Wasn't it? I think it was. If I'm not wrong. Bamboozle, there we go. Speaking, that's a blue cat, right? I think so. So what is that, a European fish, or catfish not native to North America? Or is the blue cat not native to North America? I think that's a blue catfish, if I'm not wrong. Call it a hybrid. Yeah, you know, because bass can mix with multiple species, if I'm not wrong, right? They can mix with white bass, but can't they mix with other, like a different type of bass species? I forgot. Or is it only the white bass? It's just a nickname, right? Hybrids, wipers, because it's like a white striper, white bass striper. Gin, very nice. Look at that. That's why I like fishing for brook trout. Look at the color on the lower fin. But just look at that. I will say, you know, I'm not a big fan of spending, like, I would never buy the Able reel with, like, the brown trout pattern and stuff like that. But if I could ever, like, I don't know, maybe on my boat somewhere or something, or I don't know, somehow find to use the brook trout pattern somewhere. That's one of my favorite colors, or favorite natural patterns on any sort of animals in the world, is the brook trout. In fall, like a fall time male brook trout pattern is one of my favorite animal, like, colors and displays you'll ever see. Yeah, beautiful. Very nice. Oh, is this up in the Adirondacks? Yep, with your son. Man, Bamboozle, professional photographer over here. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is, not only does he tie, like, flies that look like they should be in a magazine, but he's out here with, like, a freaking $8,000 Canon or something. It's probably just shooting on his iPhone or something. I'm just an idiot, but I don't know how to use mine. He takes such nice photos, too. God damn. He's good at everything he does, that Bamboozle son of a bitch. Yo, what's going on, David? How you doing? Aloha from the Big Island of Hawaii. First time here. So what's the Big Island? Let me think. I know multiple islands, but I'm trying to think. Is it fuck, man. I feel like I used to know a lot more about Hawaii when I was younger. I'll let you tell me. It's just called Hawaii Island. Oh, okay, interesting. So, like, Maui, or is Honolulu an island and not a city, right? Oh, man, I sound like an idiot. Interesting. I did not know that it was actually called Hawaii Island. Like, the main island? Huh. Well, welcome. How you doing, man? So, this is Craggerol's trip. He was actually out the day fishing in Montauk the same day I was with my customer, and we probably saw him, and I was probably like, let's show those other fly guys how it's done, bozos. Smoking my dirties as we drove past. Nah, we probably waved or something, but I'm almost certain we might have saw you out there that day, Craggerol. We might have saw you. I don't know what boat you're on, but beautiful looking fish. So this was actually the same day that this was. But I think you guys stayed off Montauk, right? You didn't go to Block or whatever. It's so hard to know what the right... But mind you, I was on like a tuna boat almost. The guy, we got 500 horsepower, so I don't blame the guy, maybe not for going to Block for you. But broke my new personal best. Nothing crazy. And personal best on the fly. I've caught nice ones on plugs, but I still have not broken 30 pounds on the fly, man. 20-something years of fly fishing for straight bass. This fish right here ended up being... I asked the guys... because these guys are serious and they catch big stripers. I'm like, what size? How heavy do you think it was? They were like 22, 23. I'm like, perfect. That's all I needed to hear. Because if I said a number, it would have been 25, 26. Next thing you know, it's going up to 30, right? Now, I knew it wasn't 30 pounds. But, and then we were getting some more small, like 31 to 32 inch fish, you know. upper slot size or whatever. And just some more photos from it. So this is Block Island here in the background. Block Island is, God, I don't know how many miles off Montauk. Real quick, we're going to do a geography lesson. We should first look at Hawaii. I should brush up on my Hawaiian geography. I'm not going to dox myself over here, right? No, okay. So, this is Montauk. Okay, look. We got New York here. Okay, right? This is Montauk. You drive all the way out of New York City, you come to the end. They call it the end. So what we do is we take the boat here. You can launch out of Lake Montauk, because this is like where all the big marinas are, right? You got West Lake and you got East Lake. This is where all the marinas and all the boats are for Montauk are, because you can't have boats anywhere else. There's no creeks, there's no ponds, so you only have a couple options. And I think Fort Pond is freshwater. Yes, it is, of course. But Lake Montauk is where all the boats are. So you got like you got your marinas and your whatnot over here going up around. So you come out though and you literally just shoot straight. Usually come around here and you look around the point because there could be fish working the rips. This is Shagwan rips over here, this area. If I'm not wrong, it's like over here, I think, or something. Which is a big rip that happens. But nothing's going on over here. You take that 500 horsepower and you just go zoop over here. And I wonder, do they have the windmills? Oh, they do have the windmill farm, but that you can't see them. So there's windmills, giant windmills over here. And we usually end up fishing in this area. There's some big rips, I think somewhere over here that's like 80, 90 foot. And it's more like 30, 40 foot around here. I've never been up any of these sides, by the way. Dude, I wonder how the inshore fishing in Block Island is. Like, what's the bay fishing, the pond fishing like in Block Island? It's gotta be interesting, huh? Anyways, it's an awesome place, man. Oh, they even got a skate park over there? Damn, bro, they got skate parks in Block Island? I tie, sell, and fish saltwater flies here. I was gonna ask if you fly fish. So what sort of flies do you primarily tie and stuff over there? Are you tying bonefish flies? Or are you tying like, you know, like more larger, like deceiver hollow type flies for people fishing off boats for trevallies and stuff? Or what are you doing over there? I'm assuming like probably bonefish, right? Is probably somewhat popular. You doing like offshore stuff for like tuna and marlin or... Well, do we have the link in our Discord, like in every live stream? I think it is, right? For the, let me double check. For our Discord? Yeah. In every live stream link on YouTube, you guys can always open up the description and you could join the Discord. We'd love to see, you know how we were looking through, we'd love to see some of the flies that you tie. But we're glad to have you. I'm trying to think, man. I don't know if we've had anyone from Hawaii over the years. I watched. We've had all sorts of... I remember, dude, what was... Somebody used to watch years ago, and they watched from the Christmas... Not the Christmas Islands, but they watched from this island off Madagascar. We looked it up, and he sent us all these cool photos on Discord to show to stream, and it was like one of the coolest places in the world. I forgot the name of that island, but... Man, we've been streaming a long time. It's funny when you stream for like so long too, like people watch a stream, then they probably stop watching Twitch or they stop watching me, whatever it may be. It's totally perfectly fine, you know, but like, you know, it like people come and go and stuff, and it's interesting. We've had a lot of people watch over the years, even though we don't get to have a lot of people watch in general. Clousers and streamers mostly, bonefish and trevally. Hey, what did I say? Never been to Hawaii once, but hey, I'm a commercial fly tyer. I know what's up. Bonefish flies, and then what? Trevally streamers. That's awesome, dude. I love to hear it. I would love to get to Hawaii one day. and try and do some fishing. Most exotic, I guess you could say, when it comes to warmer temps is Aruba, and it's like a freaking tourist destination, you know, so trying to find any actual real fishing. But they do have bonefish there, so I was fly fishing in a place that bonefish exists, but I've never really given bonefish a proper shot. Got to hit up the Keys one day. You know, you got to hit up maybe like Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, or somewhere like that, somewhere down to or the Caribbean. And Hawaii, I know. I follow a couple guides from Hawaii, bonefish guides. And they're always posting massive bonefish, and you could see like a factory in the background, or like, you know what I mean? Like it's like a creek behind some industrial place or something. They're catching these like, I'm like, damn, dude, Hawaii looks sick. That's like our sort of fishing, you know. Here in New York, you got like you're like fishing behind some industrial place almost at times, or like, you know, some residential neighborhoods or something, you know. It's interesting. All right. Hawaii is known for the bone fishing. Oh yeah. Like when I was growing up as a kid, you didn't see like Flip Pallet going to Hawaii and stuff, but I feel like, you know, nowadays you see a lot of bone fishing coming out of Hawaii, like big bone fish, and just like it seems like it's very popular down there. It seems like it's probably the most popular saltwater fly fishing like thing you could do down there, I'm assuming, right? Or the most sought after, perhaps, right? Dude, why are my YouTube Studio player is like so behind at times? All right, let's do our marble race. Now, unfortunately, this is just for the folks on Twitch. YouTube, don't worry. Twitch is, you know, Twitch will ban me if I don't, you know, give them candy and stuff. But on Sunday, we have a new video coming out. Last video of the month is a giveaway video, so you guys can watch that on Sunday and, you know, just like, subscribe, and type something on it, you know, or comment or whatever. But for the folks on Twitch, we've been doing this for, what, 6, 7, 8 years now, these marble races? You know the routine, ! Play. We got our sub race first. First, blue or pink or green marble that's a sub is going to win a fly. And after that, we're going to leave it open. We have the follower race after. For the most part, yeah, bonefish in the flats and on the other islands, yeah. Dude, if I'm telling you, trevally look like the bluefish of the south or down there, and I would be slamming trevally. Or slamming the jacks. Like, dude, you know, I'm sure a lot of people probably are like, oh, damn, jacks. They probably tear up gear. I picture, like, our bluefish, they're seen similar by, like, diehard trevally fishermen. Like, damn, it's a jack, you know? Maybe I'm wrong. But I feel like that's what they like use them as bait in Florida. Like, they don't think of them as a game fish, right? But I'd be slamming jacks and trevally type fish all day. I love that. Any sort of hard fighting fish that fights like a freak of nature, like big bluefish type thing, you know? So I would love to catch big jacks. That'd be so fun. That's not even trevally. Then you start getting into big trevally. Whew. God damn, that's some cool stuff. All right. Yo, Supra, what's going on, dude? How you doing, brother? And Sam, man, what have you been up to, brother? How you been? All right. Okay, I'm going to give you guys 30 seconds here. We do have the follower one coming up next, so. I use big streamers and clousers here for the trevally. Mostly cliff line, so I use my spinner rod with a bubble. Yeah, I've seen the cliff fishing. I was wondering how plausible it is for fly fishing. But, like, I guess you have to be able to, like, physically land the fish without, like, killing it or something, right? Like, spearing it. So I'm assuming with a big rod, you can kind of just, like, lug that sucker up there with a big, heavy spinning rod. Like, 100-pound braid or some shit. That's interesting. You use a spinning egg, or a casting egg is what we call them up here. A lot of guys buy flies from me to fish for false albacore and bonito because the flies are just more effective in imitating small bay anchovies than lures. And they'll use casting eggs. Yeah, yep. I've seen videos of these guys catching trevally and tuna and stuff from like these exotic places, either like somewhere in Asia or Australia or like Hawaii, things like that. And it is really, really wild fishing for sure. I would love to do it with a fly rod. I would just need to find a place I can land it, right? I would need to look for a spot or something. Or I would, you know me, I would probably die. Like there's no way I would use a spinning rod. It'd be like, we'd have to catch one on the fly, even if it's all day, just fly fishing. That's what I do right now anyway. I don't catch anything. All right, let's start this sucker up. Can we get some marble music, Jerry? Pretty please. This ain't gonna cut it. All right. And I'm still not happy with my reverb. Otherwise, I'd do a Mortal Kombat sort of scream. But I'm too tired because I'm sleep deprived. So, all right, chat. Good luck. First sub in the marble pit's gonna win, and then we open up the follower one after. So, doing good, working and lurking. Love to hear it, dude. I hope everything's going good. Appreciate you, brother. So far, PB on the fly rod in Hilo Bay is 30-pound trevally on a 9-weight. Damn. Yeah, so what would you normally want to use for trevallies? Like if you're specifically targeting them, like 10 weights, I'm assuming, right? Minimum. Like, 'cause those fish don't mess around. I'm assuming a 9-weight's probably, you're pushing it. Even a 20-pound trevally on a 9-weight, right? Because they fight harder than a striped bass, just in terms of how they're built. All right, we got Gin Craggerroll, Southern Fly Guy, and Super Turbo. Super's there as moral support or as a domestic terrorist. I don't know. He's going to try and ruin one of their runs, but somebody's going to be trying to win. Now, this is where AR Flyfish is like, damn it, I missed it. You know, he's looking for those races. Craggerroll, he's coming in. He's like, I got 3 marbles, all right? Two true competitors here. It's all going to come down to this. Southern Fly Guy, though, he's looking hot. He's getting hung up, though. You got to watch out for this. This is like the carnival. Whoa, Jin, though. Jin came through like an F1 driver. Still anybody's race. Are these pegs? Nope, no pegs. They're Tic Tacs. 9 to 10 weight? Yeah. Yeah, doing all right. Doing all right. We'll get into it after the marble race. Jin, though, looking good. Southern Fly Guy. Craggerroll and Supra, I believe they're fist fighting each other back there. We're going to need to get the ref. You guys break it up. Come on. But I will say, Jin, Southern Fly Guy, almost neck and neck right now. Currently, it looks like they might even beat Brew's time. Brew Mojo. His record here on this track. Jin might have a slight lead. But, I mean, it's neck and neck. Craggerroll and Super catching up quick. We're approaching the hamster wheel of death. It's all going to come down to this. We got paddle sections. We have some sort of cylindrical device. Southern Fly Guy, though, using the momentum. I can't even talk. The momentum of the paddles. I'm so excited from the marble race. I'm stuttering. Super. Whoa! He almost got that back shot. Jin, Southern Fly Guy. It is still anybody's race here now. Oh my God. What is this? Oh shit. I don't like that. That looks a little scary. Is he gonna make it, folks? What? I don't even know what that is. What are these spinning things? Do they even affect the race? Congratulations, Jin. I thought he was gonna get launched off the track. I don't even know what these do. Do they even do anything? Let's find out. Southern Fly Guy, he was looking so good, and then I think Supra or somebody probably tripped him up, tied his shoelaces together. Jin squeaking out another lead. Yeah, I don't think this does anything. I think it's just there. All right, well, congratulations. Not going to lie, I thought Jin was going to get launched off, but it's all good. I just used Prime. Nice to see you. Okay, well, thank you, Supra. I would have let you have it. But thank you, brother. Thank you for using your Bezos bucks. if it wasn't for you and for all you other Twitch primers out there, Jeff Bezos would be sending... He sent Katy Perry into space. What's next? You know what I mean? What's next? You know, he's going to send Drake into space? That's why you got to use your Twitch primes. Otherwise, Jeff Bezos will get richer. Because it directly comes out of Jeff Bezos' pocket. That's not true. I don't want to get sued. It is from Amazon. But that's what we like to think. All right, random track. All right, you guys know the routine. This is going to be the follower one, but we're leaving that up. That's enough, YouTube. Don't worry. I know you guys love the marble races. Don't lie. But yeah. So we're going to take a quick little break here. All right, I'm just going to grab another drink. We've been streaming for an hour and a half. When I come back, we'll tie some more sand eel flies and chit-chat about some stuff. And then at the end of the stream, we're going to do our follower race. All right? For the folks on Twitch. So I also got to grab a tissue. Yes, !refund, the number 1-800-KISS-MY-ASS. You can call that. Jerry will be on the line. He will put you on hold indefinitely, but you can call. Yeah, Jen, let me write you down, brother. And where's my notepad? Because if I don't write it down, I will forget, and then I have to go back in the stream and look. So, we got the sub race. Jin. And this is June. Jin and June. And we got follower next. YouTube we don't need to worry about because we got that video coming out on Sunday, and we'll probably next Friday on stream we'll pick the winner of that live via random comment picker. But this marble race is open. ! Play, the follower race. Jin is not eligible, but any of you other folks in Twitch chat, all you gotta be doing is following the channel. Type ! Play. You'll be entered. If you win, I send you a fly in the mail in an envelope. If it gets there, it gets there, right? If your postman takes it and rips up the envelope so he can snort some sort of white substance he found in a random package, it's not my, you know, it is what it is. But they've gotten there almost every time. But we've had multiple times of doing giveaways over the past 8 years or 7 years. There have been many times where they just end up in some alternate dimension in a post office storage room in, like, you know, through a wormhole portal or something. Who knows? So, I've had a lot of flies go missing in the post office over the years. Not just giveaway stuff either, like whole orders. I had a whole order in Brooklyn. Went to Brooklyn, got stuck in Brooklyn at the postage place. Didn't actually get to the place, just got stuck in the center and just stayed there forever. So, it's probably still there. I bet you there's still a package of flies in some warehouse in Brooklyn that the post office owns. You know what I mean? Alright. So, we're going to take a quick little break. I'll be back in a moment. You know what the time is. I'll be highlight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Stay tight, alright? Yeah, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, Aiden. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the valve.
Yeah, get on the valve. Alright, you're doing good? Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Oh, let's go!
Come here, boat next to our alley. Good job.
That's sick.
All right. Nice.
Let's go! Woo! Albie slap!
Good job, dude.
Yee!
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little tuny, bro. On the Albihar too. Oh my God, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my God! Yep. All right, man, that footage is so nice. JC Jeffy just got a new truck, actually. Just sending photos on Instagram. All right. No marble music. What's going on, Raph? Thank you, thank you. Okay. Let's tie another fly, speaking of which. We've done a considerable amount of yapping. Let's go ahead and pick the same hook. We tied flat winds. Now, we did this last. I want to tie another squimpish. We tied a mushmouth style last time, but we're going to do like a... almost like a deceiver, but entirely with squimpish hair. Essentially. Kind of, and I say deceiver, it's like, think of like a slim deceiver or a flat wing, but with entirely with squimpish. Is what we're gonna do. Move that out of the background. Make sure we're relatively in focus. All right. So let's go ahead and take. So this is the blend with the angel hair in it, squimpish hair. Nice stuff. I like it. So I'm going to take some of this stuff here. And it's way too long, so we're just going to fold it in half. This is even too long as well. So what I'm going to do is specifically take these longer hairs by loosely holding it, cut this in half. Taper it so we get a more natural look to it. Some of this stuff is a little long as well, so do the same. That way we don't end up with any waste. We're not throwing really any out, at least at this point. Maybe later, because we don't want any hairs that are ridiculously short. Now if I fold this, that's too long, so yeah, let's just do this. Just by grabbing the ends, even after you cut it, you can kind of re-taper it to a somewhat natural look. Which is why I really like Squimpish hair. I can grab Squimpish hair out of my trash can and taper it and have material. So now one thing is we are going to have some shorter hairs. In the front, you'll see I'm going to cut it and then pull those. We don't need to do that right now. Doesn't really matter. Technically, I mean, possibly some of the hairs could foul if you want. I mean, maybe, but it's also going to give us more material and a little bit, you know, it's going to give me the profile I want, so it's fine. A-okay with me. So we're going to body braid. I'm going to tie this forward. One thing you'll learn with body braid. Now, it's the sand deal, so I'm not going to go all the way, actually. It's actually good. One thing you learn tying deceivers is if you tie the feathers all the way to a certain point and then cut them, then you'll have an even shank, essentially, to wrap your body braid. If you cut your feathers back here and you wrap your body braid, you'll have a bump back here, and then it goes to a smaller diameter here. So that's why it's important to tie your material for your tail section all to the same length. That way when you wrap your body braid, that section that will be covered in body braid won't be uneven here, or like too big here and then slim there. And speaking of slim, hit that like button. Yeah, that's right. How's it going, Slim? How you doing? You guys dying over there? Are you rocking? You got the AC flowing? How hot is it over there? It's like 100 degrees or something. So it's crazy. We had like, it was 90 something degrees the other day, and then today it was 60 something. So it's summertime in Long Island for you. Usually it's a little bit more consistent. It's been a little wacky recently. Just woke up so hot. Well, hopefully you're doing well. So you got the lawn gnomes in your garden, looking good. Yo, what's going on, Sonny Kim? It's only 106. Oh my God. God. You better not have like leather seats in Arizona or Nevada or something, huh? You burn yourself just getting in the car. Gotta have like nice beige cloth seats. You know what I mean? Alright, we're gonna wrap some body braid. Now, I'm not even gonna put any flash on here. You know, we got Pearl Flash Boo in the Squimpish blends. And it's interesting. I almost always just tied flash on striper flies. It wasn't until like Kenny Abrams style of fly tying where I would only tie one or two, like a single strand or two, like just one strand folded to make two strands of Flash Boo. I really started toning down flash in general after that. And now I'll only do like maybe 2 or 3 pieces folded, so it'll be 6 at most of Flash Boo. But I also, you know, I also just sometimes just don't tie any flash on there. Like, there are many times where I think having a flashless fly is good for striped bass fishing. Because, you know, there's many different circumstances and situations where you're going to need different flies. And sometimes I found non-flashy flies to be really good. For instance, tying all these roosterfish flies, I was going to put flash on the tails with Flash Boo. Starting to talk to people, what do all the guides say? You can't put flash on roosterfish flies. Just for some reason, they don't eat flashy flies like they eat duller flies for whatever reason. You know what I mean? But I bet you there are times where a flashier fly maybe is the ticket, you know, or something. I don't know. But with striped bass, what we find is it's good to have like a versatile array of flies that can cover you in multiple situations. You don't want just one sand eel fly. You want multiple sand eel flies. They can all be the same pattern, but they need to be different sizes. Some thinner, some, you know, thicker, some lawner, some dark, some light, you know. So, like, you don't want to tie 38 identical flies and then you're like, that's my sand eel fly. It's one thing you learn with striper fishing. You really got to have, like, there's many different, it's like, think of like a football coach and their rule book. You need all, or their playbook. You got all these different plays, you know what I mean, that you might need to do throughout the course. I'm going to be using some orange on this one. I had a buddy that swore by orange over chartreuse. Like bright orange over chartreuse. He was calling it the clown fly. It was like his favorite thing. He was slamming albies on it too. But I like putting some like really bright orange in my striper flies after that. He was convinced that the orange did something. So he was one hell of a fisherman. Or is one hell of a fisherman. I'm talking like he's dead. I just haven't talked to him in forever because he moved and I got a new phone, so he hasn't called me. But damn it, Tyler, if you ever end up watching, reach out to me. Let me know you're alive. I've had some good trips, me and that guy. So we could go pretty short. I'm going to kind of go pretty much the same length here. Now that may be an issue with fouling, right? That is something to consider. But we'll try and get a nice taper on here, is the idea. And we still want to keep it pretty sparse, so I really got to not add too much material. We'll go sparser than the last one. I feel like I've been tying these sand eel flies a little thick. They're like 4-inch sand eels, so they are, you know, they're probably growing every day now, so they could be a little bit larger by the time we get there, but I do feel like I should have some slimmer flies, sparser flies. I've been working on my boat because I got duped with it having super gummy carburetors. But I changed the oil filter, water filter, fuel filter, and lower unit oil today. Okay, very nice. Well, it's a carburetor, so any old guy in chat would tell you, just take that thing, rebuild it in 30 minutes. I used to rebuild carburetors on the side of the road in the wintertime. During a war. No. That was like all the old heads that I worked with as a mechanic. They were all, you kids, man, I used to rebuild 100 carburetors in a day. You know what I mean? And meanwhile, I'd be like using the scan tool, diagnosing stuff. He's like, how do you reset this oil light? I'm like, I'm like, you're totally right. We don't, like, I don't think I need to know the, it's like, I'm not going to be rebuilding 100 carburetors a day. That being said, I have rebuilt some carburetors before. And it's not, if I can do it, and I'm telling you right now, look, I may be a world-class fly tire. You know what I'm talking about? Right? World-class fly tire. Hey. And I may have been a mechanic in this and that, but, like, I wasn't, like, not that I was bad, but I wasn't, like, the greatest mechanic of all time. There were many times I'm like, dude, I don't know if I'm doing this right. Like, I got to make sure I don't want to screw up this customer's car, you know? Like, I could bang out an alignment, but if you're trying to get me to do a timing belt, like, that just wasn't my specialty. And I'm like, if I screw this up, right, we're talking about cams, right? We don't want any cams smacking any, or valves smacking any cylinders or pistons, right? So if I can rebuild a carburetor, you could easily do a Crag roll. No problem. Just get a kit, watch a YouTube video, and this is the best advice, and my dad gave it to me because he did this. He was a mechanic in the past, a very short while, and probably not even a very experienced one. But just when you take it apart, start off by taking it apart, and start off putting each piece, or like let's say there's 4 bolts, you put those 4 bolts. You can even take a piece of cardboard and top carb 4 bolts and put them in the same spots that they came out of, and like cut a piece of cardboard. What you do is you take the pieces and you just lay them on the table left to right in the order that you took them off, and that makes things so much easier. I did that when I was like, okay, first day or like first month or 2 as a mechanic, and the guy I was working for, he's like, I'm just gonna throw everything at this guy. I thought it'd be like, all right, we're going to start you off with an oil change or 2. He's like, no, why don't you take the radiator out of this 1970s weird van and replace it? And it was a good, I was like, all right, here we go. It was a project, but I ended up getting it done, And another thing he did was even though I never ended up having to ever rebuild a carburetor ever after that, he was like, here, rebuild this carburetor. So, yeah, if I could do it, you could do it. No problem. I rebuilt, modified. See, I'm telling you, dude. Jin, the story you're telling me is the exact story I've been told by 30 dudes that were could have been my father that I was working with. I rebuilt and modified my carb for my Fiat on the side of the road in the Rocky Mountains to deal with altitude. So I worked with this Polish guy. He's one of my favorite guys I ever worked with. All right. Great mechanic too. Hilarious dude, because he had the driest sense of humor. And I grew up, I had a couple Polish friends, and his mom, very similar, a very dry sense of humor, yeah. But this guy was great. I really loved him. He's an awesome dude. And he told me the story. He goes, everybody talks about how the carburetors were, and I'm doing a terrible Polish accent, by the way. I used to do a much better Zbigniew accent, but everybody talks about how, the carburetors, they were so much better than electric cars, right? Or electric, computers in cars, nowadays with CPUs and stuff like that. Until, you would stop at a stoplight and it got too cold outside and you had to change the jets in your carburetor so it would run right. Or you were driving in the altitude change, so you had to change the jets in your carburetor. In the wintertime, you got a date with you and you're like, hold on, this thing's running a little lean. Let me go grab my jets. And you got a little case with your car bits. So it's so funny because he said that as a joke, you know what I mean? But also telling because some guy would be like, man, I hate these cars with computers nowadays. Man, I used to have a carburetor. I used to rebuild my Volkswagen Beetle. I rebuilt the motor after high school one day. I blew it up. That was a story my boss told me. And you kids nowadays, yeah. Me and my friends, what we did is we took a Volkswagen Beetle. We disassembled it, and then we reassembled it in the gym. Or something, things like that, you know what I mean? Or we rebuilt the bug motor in the high school parking lot one afternoon, or something like that. You guys don't know what it was like. But there is something to be said about carbureted cars and not relying on computers and this and that. But, there's a reason why we have computers regulating how much fuel and spark you get at any given time so that the motor runs optimally. Better performance, fuel mileage, fuel economy, all that. You also won't go too lean, and blow up your motor, ideally. But there's a million other things that can go wrong and cost money, so. Do we got anybody still daily driving a carbureted car nowadays? Is there anybody's like, hell yeah, brother, I got a 1988 Ford Bronco running a 4-barrel Edelbrock on it, and I get 4 miles to the gallon. I had a Trans Am, 87 Trans Am that I daily drove, and I was leaving community college. And I smelled gas. Or they came to my class and they were like, your car is leaking gas. You need to do something about it. Otherwise, we're going to like have to tow your car and charge you money. I'm like, what? Like the security came to my classroom or something. And my car was registered and they knew who I, like, because you need a parking permit to park on college grounds or whatever. So I go, my carburetor's leaking, right? And I think I got it towed or something like that, whatever. So another day we go, and I could smell gas. I'm like, uh-oh. So I got the hood open. It's like later in the day. Some dude pulls up. He's like, yo, what's up? What do you got going on? And I'm like, yeah, the carb's leaking. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, yeah, it's a pretty cool muscle car. He goes, this isn't a muscle car. He goes, this is an automatic Trans Am. They had 80 horsepower from the factory. He goes, if it ain't manual, it ain't a muscle car in my opinion. And I was like, first off, I was like, I gotta learn how to drive stick, dude. That guy was sick. Like, he was just normal looking, but in my mind, he's like the Fonz. He's got like a leather jacket and cool glasses, and he just knocked a jukebox. He's like, this ain't a muscle car. He goes, this is an automatic shitty Trans Am. He didn't say that, but it was something like, he's like, oh, you gotta get a stick shift or something, and he's like, whatever, and it just stuck with me. I was like, boom, I gotta get it. But so I was driving home later that day because I think I was like, okay, maybe I like plugged a line or did something. I was like, okay, we gotta do something. Or I was like, it's not leaking that bad. And I'm driving home and I like make this turn very slightly, and there's fucking like white smoke pouring out of my hood. What happened is the gas hit my exhaust manifold and it started evaporating. How the car didn't catch on fire, I don't know. But the 2-barrel Rochester stock carburetor that came with the car, something happened. I think either the jet, something happened, got stuck open or something, and it was just pouring fuel directly onto the exhaust manifold of the 305 V8. So that was interesting. That was an interesting car, but I learned later, after reading up and looking at like car and drivers reviews or like the Chevy's like ads, that car originally from the factory. Can you guess how? 1987 Trans Am. This is like the lower end Trans Am model. Okay, automatic 305 V8 2-barrel Rochester, non-posi rear end. How much horsepower do you think that car came from the factory with? And I'm going to look it up because I don't want to be wrong. But how much horsepower do you think it came with? 305 cubic inch V8, 2-barrel Rochester. So nothing crazy, but still, it's a 305 V8. How much horsepower do you think it came with? Wow, 289. Okay. 305 stock horsepower. Any other guesses? We got Sonny Kim saying 289. $130. Okay. Super Saiyan 130. Let me look. Hold on. .305 2-barrel. Where was it? Yeah, it was 165 horsepower. I thought it was less. I thought it was 130. But yeah, it was 160. So there's a famous episode of Top Gear where they go to America and they buy cars to drive across the South, I think it was, from like Florida to Texas or something. Would you guys remember that? I forgot what episode it was. And Jeremy Clarkson buys a Camaro, and he had a better in the Camaro Trans Ams and Firebirds. Here, I'll just show you guys real quick. Oh, whoa! I didn't mean to hit that. According to AI, the 305 V8, which I think this was the motor. Now I think they had different, like they had a 4-barrel and they had like whether it had a posi rear. I had the shitty one. I think it was less, but it says 165. So which is not, you would think it would be more for a V8, right? But it was a 2-barrel Rochester 305. Literally 165. By the time I got it, I bet you that thing had like 90 horsepower. And there was an episode where Jeremy Clarkson, Hammond, and James May, they go, and Jeremy Clarkson buys I think it was a 350, and I don't think it was TPI, tune port injection. I think it was carbureted, but it was like a blue with white racing stripes Camaro, or a blue Camaro. And they did like a horsepower thing. They put it on a dyno, and they were like, this car had like 200 and something horsepower from the factory. They like did the dyno, and it had like, I think it was like 90 or 80 horsepower, or even less. It might have been like 60 or something. That's what my car felt like. My car literally felt like it had like 80, 90 horsepower. So it would be like, and you would just not go anywhere. It like sounded cool. It didn't look that cool because it was all faded, and I ended up primering one panel. So my buddy's dad called me Joe Dirt every time I came over. He goes, "Oh, Joe Dirt's here again." He kept calling me. I'm like, "God damn it, Bob, shut up." But yeah. I remember getting that thing and like, is there something wrong with the car? And it was just, nope, those old Chevy and Pontiac 305s, man, they do not, even some of the 350s, like if it's not the TPI or the TBI, I mean, they just do not age well. And we put a 4-barrel on there. We did some stuff, but it was just a crap motor. Just a crap motor. You know what I mean? Just like every good iron block 305 or 350 V8, you know, they're somewhat reliable. But, I mean, and even Jeremy Clarkson, they were like, how could this car make such little horsepower? But it looks like it should have horsepower, but at the same time, like other, you know, European cars were coming out with like, or Japanese cars were coming out with turbos or naturally aspirated motors, like 4 cylinders with the same amount of horsepower. Oh god. Yeah, it wasn't a Trans Am GTA. That's what they're called. I mean, what a cooler name than the GTA Trans Am. I mean, this was before Grand Theft Auto, the video game. You know what I mean? But still. 1987 GTA Trans Am was the highest end model. Because I remember looking at them and thinking about doing an upgrade. I was going to buy one and use the motor out of it. But, yeah, man, I ended up getting into Japanese cars after that and getting into drifting. And let me tell you something, you don't want a solid rear end. You want an independent rear suspension for drifting. So thank God I didn't invest more money into that thing. Because I tried drifting that thing and I almost crashed it into a bush. So, on a rainy day. Afterwards, I said, I'm getting to 240, I'm going to the track. I actually got an RX-7, so I learned how to drive stick with a Pathfinder. I got an 87 Pathfinder. Cheap. Turns out the frame rails were Swiss cheese, so we had to get rid of that. But I did take it off-road and learn how to drive stick, and I was listening to the Men in Black soundtrack from the movie on cassette. Classic cassette. Taking my buddies out in the woods. That was a good time. We all had trucks at the time, so we were all like going off-roading and stuff. It was so cool. Until we got chased out of this place by some dude with a crossbow. He was deer hunting, which I don't think even on private property, I don't think you're allowed to hunt with a crossbow on Long Island. I don't know. I could be wrong. But he had an ATV. He's like, you damn kids out here. That's a private property. Blah, 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 blah. My buddy's like, go, go, go. Just takes off in the woods. Once you ride sports bikes, yeah, dude, but I'm terrified of motorcycles and dirt bikes. I almost killed myself on a Vespa. A couple of times my boss had like a kick-ass Vespa. Because that's like what the, you'll see like all the people that come out to the Hamptons, they get these like super clean automatic Vespas. And I'm like ripping this thing. I had to bring it back inside every day. And my coworker's like, dude, you better calm down. You better slow down with that thing. And I like legit almost like slammed into the building and ate shit on this thing. And I was like, whoa. Then my buddy's getting into motorcycles. He's like, come on, dude. I got this. He had like a Yamaha, an 80s Yamaha, but it was like more like almost like not a cafe racer, but almost like a smaller Harley size. Like it was that heavy of a bike. He's like, yeah, get on it. He gets on it, like lets go of the handlebars, and I almost fall over. I'm like, okay, well, I can't ride this thing. And then he gets a street bike, which is essentially like almost like a scooter, but it was like a street bike that was still classified as a bike, but it had such a small motor. And so I was like, okay, this thing I can learn. And I just never got comfortable with riding a motorcycle or with the weight of like a bicycle and stuff. I'm great, but like, it would have to be such a small bike. And I'm just, you get hit by a car and you're done, right? So unfortunately, like one of the kids I went to school with, he was in a grade higher than me, but he died, I think, just last year, the year before. It's really dangerous out here riding motorcycles in the Hamptons because every other person just has their phone out like this in their face. They're just holding their phone. It's what you see in the windshield. So let alone all the drunk drivers and stuff. So I'm just like, you know what? Not riding a bike. You know what I mean? I'm probably going to kill myself without, like, I'm going to fall. Or I'm going to, like, hurt myself because I'm just not good at riding them. And B, like, these drunk college chicks heading back from the bar will just take me out and not ever know it. Or something like. But my buddy loves it. I have a couple friends that ride bikes. They love it, and they were like, we used to, go drifting and stuff. And he loves bikes. He was trying to get me into it, but I was like, nah, dude, this ain't for me. Too big of a wuss. Because I think I would get, if I got a bike, I could figure out how to use. I would need to get one that I'm comfortable with weight-wise, and I would learn how to ride. I'd be fine. But I'm just terrified of somebody freaking hitting me, dude, to be honest with you. I don't even like driving my trailer, or driving a boat with a trailer on, like, the highway around here and stuff. I'm just like, dude, somebody's going to hit me, dude. They're not going to pay attention. They're going to merge thinking that I don't have a boat behind me or something. Like, there's so many people out there that don't pay attention nowadays, so. But I'm not gonna talk trash. I know my buddy, he loves it, dude. He loves riding his bike. It's like his favorite thing. I know a lot of people. One of the dudes I worked with had a Harley, and he was like, "Oh, it's the best thing in the world," to him. So I get it. My neighbor has an old late '80s Formula Trans Am. Oh man, yeah, I love Firebirds. I love Trans Ams. Pontiac. If I could, I would get one of those like G8s, or essentially, if I could, I would import like a Holden. I love the Australian, because it's the same thing, Chevy or Ford, but they have essentially the modern day muscle cars are in Australia, like the equivalents of the Pontiacs, like GTOs, the Chevy Sports or whatever. I forgot what they call it. They have the LS3 or LS8s or whatever. Not LS8s, but the LS motor, like Chevy sedans, essentially, which they don't really make anymore, these sort of cars. I guess a similar sort of car would be like a Cadillac CTS-V-ish type thing, but like Chevy. So we're talking like, like what old Pontiacs are, right? Like GTOs, and like, even though like Firebirds and stuff, it's almost that sort of reminiscent where they're like larger American cars, but they still have serious horsepower, but they're like comfortable. Kind of like older muscle cars, compared to like Camaros or Mustangs or Corvettes nowadays, which are more like sports cars. You know what I mean? So I really love the Australian like Holdens and stuff like that. So I've seen some G8s that have like Holden badges on them because they're essentially like the same sort of cars, right? I don't know exactly which model of Holden or whatnot, but there are certain like they're essentially both Chevys, similar body, so you can like swap parts and stuff. So I've seen some cool, yeah, anything with an LS I love, you know. But for anyone wondering, an LS is the designation of the type of motor, which is a aluminum block V8 by Chevy. The LS1 was in the Corvettes in like early 2000s, I think. Also, one of the Camaros, they used to have the LT ones, and then they made the LS ones. So if you ever see a Japanese car with a V8 swap, whatever, any sort of V8 swaps, it's almost always, in like modern fuel inject, it's almost always an LS motor, like an LS1. And they're coming out of GTOs, Camaros, and we're talking about like the later end Camaros, or the GTOs from the mid 2000s or late 2000s or whatever. 6 speeds. Corvettes as well. So, just sick motors. I remember when it was like, man, it's 10 grand to do an LS swap. It's probably like 20 grand to do an LS swap today. I wouldn't be surprised. Everything's so expensive nowadays. I remember when Toyota Corolla AE86s or, 240s, you could find them for like 4 or 5 grand, good condition. The Corollas were like 8 grand. Nowadays, it's a very specific year of rear-wheel drive Toyota Corollas, which are beautiful, beautiful cars. They're like $25,000, $30,000 now. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, if I ever get back into cars, I tell you what, it's going to have to just be the modern-day poor man's car. So we're talking like Nissan 350Zs, maybe old at some point. The Hyundai Genesis will be a good candidate, for a rear-wheel drive stick shift car that you can do something with. That'll be like beat up. Some kid had it, it was his first car he got from a dealer, and he crashed it once or something. You could do something with it, that sort of thing. Because nowadays trying to find these 90s chassis are impossible. I have one rusted out, A Studebaker Avanti. Oh man. Let me look that up. I think I literally worked on that exact model of that exact car. Some guy had it, and we used to have a customer had a Studebaker, and one of the guys worked on it. I'm pretty certain it is. Oh my god, it is. This is the exact car. So we had a customer at the place that I worked at in the Hamptons. He had a Studebaker Avanti. This exact car, actually, in this color right here, with the green seats and everything, like this. Beautiful car. Every time he brought it in, he had like specifically one of the guys work on it, and the guy hated this guy because he was so annoying. But the guy would come in, and he had, so you know how you have like those big, like I have a Jimi Hendrix poster on my wall, and it's the wall, and you like have it framed. He had like a big frame like that of photos of the car and photos of him. It was actually probably really like sweet. He loves the car, but as the mechanic, you're like, oh my god, dude, like. So now you got to deal with the customer that's going to sit there and watch you turn every bolt, and he's showing you all the photos. He's like, well, this is when I got this here and this, and then this. And he's like, well, make sure you do this. And also, I don't want you to touch the windows and like that sort of thing. But it was a beautiful car. I specifically remember doing inspections on like, I don't know if it was a 64. I don't know what years they had. But it was this exact model. It was the first time I was seeing a Studebaker too, and like got to work on one. Just doing basic stuff, because that guy wasn't gonna touch anything. He's like, I'm not having that kid work on it. Yeah, this is a really cool car right here. Pretty slick car, man. God, that guy was annoying to deal with though. He was like, dude, this is like, he thought. He was like, he could roll to a Mecum auction and get 300 grand or something. We got customers bringing in like 1950s Ferraris that are worth like $500,000. And this guy's like, listen, I don't know if you're ready to work on this car. He's talking to one of the like older guys. And this guy's like, I just rebuilt a Porsche the other day. Like, it's worth 3 times the amount of your Studebaker. Get out of here, dude. Right? It was funny. All the older guys are like, oh God, this guy. But man, I used to love, I would do inspections on cars like that, Put it up, look it up, check it out, basics, you know, just make sure the wheels aren't falling off, do everything you gotta do for a New York State inspection. But, and then, you know, chit chat with the owners. Because of course you got a car like that, you're gonna love it. Yeah. Oh, the flip up headlights? Yours was a 62? I specifically remember the flip up headlights. I wonder, can we find a photo of one? Yeah, these all, is this? No. Huh. Yeah, I don't see one with it. I know what you're talking about. Because it kind of like, they had the flip up, but it would close down and it was like fully painted like the car, right? The outside of the lights. You're not the guy, right? You didn't have the poster board, right? Oh, yours was gold with white. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. Southern Fly Guy's like, hey, wait a minute. Yeah, man, this guy came. Man, we were talking mad shit about this guy every time he came with this Studebaker. Yours was white. Okay, good. Whew. Luckily, I don't work there anymore, so it doesn't matter. But no, I've had so many good experiences with like some guy brings a 1960, 8 Camaro. I do an alignment and we take it for a drive and he's like, yeah, this and that and it's just that he loves his car, you know what I mean, or whatever. I had a lot of cool experiences working with on older like classic cars and just like dealing with cool people. But every once in a while you get somebody that's like, it's just an annoying customer to deal with, I guess, which is every business or everything you do. So there we go, though. I like this. This is super simple. I got to start tying with Squimpish more. You know what I mean? So, when I first started fly tying and learning deceivers and stuff, I didn't have feathers. A lot of times. Feathers are expensive. My dad or mom, they were buying me a pack of feathers, when I was a kid. They didn't have a lot of money. So, like, there's a good chance that I would use all those feathers pretty quickly. And so what I actually used to do is I would cut material off the hooks because I only had a certain amount of hooks. So I would tie a fly and I would be like, all right, this looks like crap. And this is me like 8 or 9 years old. And I would take a razor blade or my scissors and I'd cut everything off the fly. Because what I would do is I would like tie a bunch of flies, use all the hooks. And then I'd be like, all right, these two look really good. And then the other ones, I'd be like, screw that. And I would cut all the stuff off of it, try and reuse whatever material. But the main thing is I only had so many hooks, so many feathers. So what I used to do a lot is tie deceivers without feathers. So like, if you're just learning, whether you're a kid or an adult, deceivers are great. And this is the sort of fly I would tie a lot where it was just 1 or 2 steps. And generally with one material, because that's the only thing I had, like either bucktail or some sort of like Supreme hair at the time was like the sort of synthetic material everybody was using was Super Hair, Supreme Hair, right? Back in the 90s. You had other materials as well, like Slinky Fiber, but it wasn't as common. I couldn't find that. I could only find like Unique Hair or something like that at times at like some fly shop on the island or local tackle shop had a very small amount of materials or something. So I do like tying these sort of flies where they're kind of just very simple like deceivers where you tie them with all bucktail or all like Squimpish or whatever material, SF blends. Because what we did last week, and I shipped it out to one of the giveaway winners, we did like a mush mouth style where we tied it, then we did V-ties moving up the shank, which I like as well, but I don't like that with the Squimpish hair. That's more of like an SF blend mush mouth, or like angel hair. But this right here, this looks really nice. Like if I'm going fishing for striped bass, and we got 30-pound fish blowing up, like mixed in with like big, nice sized slots, and I'm like quickly trying to look through my fly box, and I see like, if I see this, this is like the sort of thing that catches my eye when I'm going through my box. I'm like, okay, this, you know what? This is probably going to just work, So I do like these sort of simple, like slim deceiver type flies, but where you're just using the bucktail or like synthetics. I think it came out pretty good. Happy with it? Let's go ahead and tie another fly here. You were only 20? Oh, man. Yep. Yeah, I miss having a cool car where things break and you gotta spend money on it all the time. Good times, though. 1974. Oof. Well, unfortunately, Jimmy was gone by, what, 3 and something years then, but you had some good Who albums, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC was like kind of just like, you know, when did their, not Highway to Hell, what was the first album with Scott Bonham? Thunderstruck? When was that? That was early 70s. That wasn't like 70 or 70. That was like 73 or 4. I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I don't know AC/DC dates. I know like Back in Black was 80, I think. I want to say is Back in Black. But man, you had some good music back then. Whew. Yeah, when was Quadrophenia? Quadrophenia, was that 74? Was that 76? Or that wasn't early 70s, right? Quadrophenia? Or was it like 72 or something? Man, there's some good albums, though. I gotta start listening to some more albums. A lot of times I'll put on YouTube, and I've been listening to a lot of, like, hip-hop. DJ Quick, too. DJ Azoka. I've been listening to something called Doom Hop, which is just, like, it's almost like, it's not chopped and screwed, but it's almost like chopped and screwed vibes or something. But it's some heavy, it's really good, though. I really like it. But, I gotta go back and just, like, put on some, like, Who albums. You know what I mean? Like, Quadrophenia. Ugh. Also, is the name of the movie Quadrophenia? It is, right? Car Talk with Li Flies, Mike.
Mike.
Yo, Jen, thank you for the 76 months, my friend. 76 months with the tier 1 on Twitch. Unbelievable. Thank you so much. That's a long time. Now I like Insane Clown Posse. Hell yeah. First time I heard Insane Clown Posse, this was like before, like, I remember, because I remember they got like a ton of recognition because they were like pretty well known somewhat, you know. But in that Workaholics episode, I remember really like blew up. I feel like the Insane Clown Posse for just like in general for people. But I went to school with these kids and they were from Cali and they were like, the one kid was definitely like the perfect Insane Clown Posse fan. But we were like, what the hell is this music? And we were like, yo, this is crazy. And he showed us the album cover and we're like, they dress like clowns? Like, what the hell is this? Yeah, I love Insane Clown Posse. They're cool. I don't really listen to a ton of stuff, but I have taken time to listen to their music.
Just kidding. Open mouth, smile.
Just kidding.
Open mouth, smile, open mouth, smile, person shrugging.
I've listened to Insane Clown Posse before. I'm not going to hate on them. I've actually, I was like, you know what? I need to sit down and listen to one of their albums. So I looked up and like what people were saying and whatnot, and I listened to an album on YouTube. I enjoyed some of their music. I did. It hit. Check it out sometime. Insane Clown Posse. You were big on Frank Zappa? I worked at a place that was named after a Zappa album. But yeah, my dad loves Zappa too. I love Zappa as well. I remember we had a vinyl, and in the vinyl you open it up and you could see tits. It was from like a Frank Zappa show or something. It was like either a TV show or a movie they did, I think. But I remember being like, whoa. You know what I mean? And I was like really young too. That was before I knew about, you know, watch out where those huskies go. Don't you eat that yellow snow. I got it. Frank Zappa's wild, dude. As a guitar player, you got, I mean, whether you like him or not, you got that unbelievable. I do like his music though. It's sick. I don't know if I like all of it. It's definitely wild. for sure. There's definitely stuff that I've listened to from Frank Zappa. I'm like, I don't get this. Oh yeah, extremely bright. He would also be like, "You're a freaking idiot," if he thought you were like. You watch interviews with him and stuff. He's definitely like a straight up person that's like, "I hate everything about you," or something. Frank Zappa interviews are really cool. There's some really good Frank Zappa interviews I've watched out there in the past. And his son, Dweezil Zappa, is an amazing guitar player. Who's also just seems like the nicest guy in the world as well. But as a guitar player, I've watched a lot of interviews with him. Like Rig Rundown on Premier Guitar or something is a good show with John. What's that guy's last name? He's an awesome dude, though. But Dweezil Zappa, he's a cool dude. I think if he came by locally here on the On, I'd go watch him for sure. He's an amazing guitar player. And he recreates a lot of the stuff his dad did with just sonically with music in terms of what you can do with a guitar. And like Frank Zappa had crazy modifications to his guitars with like switches and impedance and tone pots and, you know, everything. Like, I don't know, I'm probably not getting any synthesizers. You know, it was back in the 70s. He was really pioneering a lot of that stuff, which is like, you know, what you would find in like guitars in the 90s, like these whatever, I forgot what brands you start seeing a lot. So Frank Zappa is awesome. Also, I gotta scroll up. Did you guys say what year Quadrophenia was? 69 was Zeppelin? Yeah, I know, but in 74, Zeppelin was making albums till like 1980, I think, or something, right? When was the last album Zeppelin did where they're like it's like a thing where they're sitting in a cafe or something, right? I feel like 74 was what the hell is the name of that one album? The Song Remains the Same, maybe? Was 74? Or is that 76? I don't know. Led Zeppelin stayed together for a while after a lot of rock and whatnot changed, or, you know, the Beatles are long gone, this and that. Unfortunately, it took John Bonham dying, you know, and that kind of, they were like, yep, we're done. And if you haven't, now I'm going to tell you this right now. If any of you guys are big Led Zeppelin fans, okay, and you don't know this, it's wild. But, and the fact they didn't include John Bonham screwed up, I don't know the whole thing behind that. Maybe he didn't want to do it. I don't know. But Page and Plant and Page, whatever, where it was in the 90s, they came back and they recorded a bunch of Led Zeppelin stuff with acoustics and electrics, but acoustics, and they went around the world and like with like there's like Moroccan bands that they incorporated and stuff. That's where that one version of Kashmir comes from, and they're in a Moroccan bazaar, like market. I think it's Page and Plant Uncut or something. I forgot what it's called. No Quarter, or no, what is it? What the hell was the name of this project they did? Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. Oh, it was, their reunion was No Quarter Unleaded. That's what it was called, Unleaded. It was in 1994. We have it on DVD. Dude, I'm telling you, if you could find that video and buy it online, you know, you could probably rent it or something. There's the DVD, or it's on YouTube. It looks like the entire thing is on YouTube. There you go. Just go watch it. Just type in Jimmy Page and Robert Plant live, No Quarter Unleaded. Oh my God. It literally starts off with them in the woods. It looks like a scene where like Gandalf is going to come out of the woods and somewhere in like this mystical part of England. And Jimmy Page is playing a 12-string, I think it's a double neck Ovation. It might just be a single neck 12-string Ovation, and they start off with No Quarter. And dude, I might even watch that after the stream. Like, you put that on and just do some fly tying. So good. That version of Cashmere, when they're in the market in Morocco, that is the most Jimmy Page thing I've ever seen Jimmy Page do. The way he's playing the guitar and he's rocking back and he, oh my god. And it's just like there's just Moroccan. Some of the people are freaking out, and some of the people are like, they have no idea what's going on. They're in this market, and it's so cool. They just like showed up to this market in Morocco and just set up and started jamming Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. And like kids are going crazy, and there's like old people walking like goats around. They're like, what the hell's going on? They have no idea. They don't even know who they are. It's so cool. Yeah, I remember we got that DVD, and me and my dad were both like, "Oh shit, what is this?" It was like finding the Lost Ark or something. I feel like we got it in the like early 2000s or something. We got it on DVD, you know, so they probably at some point put it out on DVD. Because it was 1994 they did it, I think, unless they recorded it after. I don't know, but. If you're a big Led Zeppelin fan and you haven't seen that, go watch it after the stream. It is, oh my god, so good. It's still to this day like one of my favorite. It's not Led Zeppelin because it's just Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. They are playing Zeppelin songs, but it's not John Bonham. They did have John Bonham's son, Jason Bonham, playing drums, so there's that. But they didn't have John Paul Jones, the bass player. So I don't know what was up with that. If he was there, it would have been perfect. But I mean, I guess it just would have been Led Zeppelin at that point, you know. But yeah, that still to this day is like probably my all-time favorite like album, like DVD or something, you know, or like video, because you know, Pink Floyd had one. What was the one Pink Floyd? Not The Wall. That's almost like a musical ish. They had one, you guys know what I'm talking about, where they like filmed it in like Pompeii or some shit. There was like a Pink Floyd like movie almost, but it was just like their record, and they filmed like visuals to it, and like David Gilmour's playing in like an old Coliseum or like by a I feel like they were like by like a volcano. It was just weird. It was just like images. It was really cool. But it wasn't like, you know, like The Wall's like a almost like the album, but a movie. Same thing with like like Tommy is a good description of that. You guys know what I'm talking about? I used to actually have that exact album artwork from the vinyl on my wall. I still have like framed, but I forgot the name of it. Was it like a Dark Side of the Moon movie or something, or like DVD, like, and it was like a film? I remember they filmed it back then because it's David Gilmour, shirtless, freaking long hair. He's like 20 years old, you know what I mean? And like, I feel like they were like in Italy or Greece or something. I don't know. I miss those days of like going and buying DVDs of like you would get like a Pink Floyd DVD of like, you're like, what is this? This is like an album, but it's like a movie they did in like the 70s. And they probably were on acid the whole time while they were like thinking about what to film, because it was like just the weirdest stuff, you know what I mean? And but getting something like that and like bringing it home from like you know, wherever we got it, and I'd just sit down and watch it, and you'd end up watching it multiple times because you spent money on it, right? Now with the internet, I can watch 30 different like things like that in an afternoon. So it's definitely different, you know. Like that No Quarter DVD, dude, I probably watched that. I don't even know how many times. I feel like I probably had to have at least watched that like 20 times over the years. That was one of those things, you got a DVD and you're like, this, dude, what is this? I've never seen this. Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. Like, when was this? My dad was like, oh, he's like, wait, I forgot about that. They did that. And it was like, oh my God. I feel like that's the sort of thing, if I curated a time vault for 1,000 years from now, you know, those time capsule things, I would put that DVD in there, buy an extra copy. That's the sort of thing that somebody needs to see 1,000 years from now. Jimmy Page playing Kashmir in Morocco. Floyd live in Pompeii. That's what it was. Good DVD. Yeah, that is the one. But it wasn't like, or at least not the whole thing. I remember it was very abstract. It was like they were live, but there was no audience or anything. They were just playing in Pompeii, sweating their asses off in the summertime. Yep. Hey, Doc, how's it going, brother? I hope you're doing well. I gotta ship some flies to you. I dropped off some envelopes, or I put them in the mailbox today, or the other day. I gotta go over there and send you a couple. But that being said, we do got the marble race follower style, so anyone that wants to hop in there, we're gonna be once we glue these eyes on here, we're gonna do that, and then I'm gonna be wrapping up the stream because I'm getting there. So we're gonna move these eyes back. But how you doing, Doc? Hope everything's been good. But yeah, that is exactly it. It was Pompeii. I knew it looked like Greece or something. I know Pompeii's in Italy, but I knew it was Mediterranean and not Turkey. Okay, that's all. I'm sure we still have that DVD. But yeah, it was like live in Pompeii, and it was just them playing with a camera, with just cameras like panning, like movie style, not even set up like how you would see a concert. So it was really cool in that way. I was like, but that's not the sort of thing like you see live in Pompeii. You're like, okay, cool. So it's going to be them playing a live show. Like we had multiple DVDs of Deep Purple, right? 1976 or whatever, Burn live. Richie Blackmore's like destroying the stage because he was having a diva queen, or like a, you know what I mean? Diva queen moment. One of the DVDs we have, it's Richie Blackmore. I think it's like 1970 something. It was before Ian Gillan, which was Smoke on the Water. So it was, I'm pretty certain it was who did I say just before? I just forgot the guy's name, but it was before Ian Gillan. And Richie Black, something happens. I don't know what happens, but Richie Blackmore literally starts destroying his guitars, the Marshall amps. He's like, there's like 10 Marshall stat. He's like destroying everything. He's taking his Fender Strats and like smashing them on the ground. And like the other guy's like, what the hell are you doing, dude? It wasn't even like, you know, Pete Townsend at the end of the show was like smashing a guitar. Like Richie Blackmore just started breaking all of his, he just like got upset and started destroying his guitars and stuff. And they were like, dude, what are you doing? And they were like still performing. And he was just intermittently picking up his guitar playing, and then he would start smashing it and stuff. And that's like the best description of Richie Blackmore. He's such a talented artist. Unbelievable. Probably one of my favorite guitar players. Yo, Supra. Hey, man. I hope you have an awesome night and have an awesome date. Enjoy it, dude. Like, Richie Blackmore's all around, like, that's my dad's favorite guitar player all time. For a fact. If I had, like, you know, the CIA was like, what's your dad's favorite guitar player? So we know it's actually you. I'd be like, Richie Blackmore. If they said, no, it isn't, I'd be like, you're a North Korean spy. You know, and then I would pass the test. Or something, right? So, Richie Blackmore is up there for me because I grew up listening to Deep Purple. And my dad loves, was it David Coverdale? Who was the original singer of Deep Purple for a while? Because I know it changed a little. And then there was Coverdale, which I know you think from Whitesnake, right? Isn't that the guy from Whitesnake? David Coverdale? He was actually the lead singer of Deep Purple for a while. So there's some albums with Richie Blackmore, like Burn. I think Is that David Coverdale? No, that was somebody else, and I can't remember this guy's name. But there's some Deep Purple out. Everyone thinks of Smoke on the Water, right? And I love Machine Head. And Space Truckin', like that era of Deep Purple. But dude, like Burn and like the early 70s stuff, or some of the later 70s stuff. And then you got Richie Blackmore and freaking Dio for Rainbow. You want to talk about a band, dude? Check out Rainbow. I hope I'm getting the names right, and I'm not like thinking the band's name is an album name. The band's name is Rainbow, right? Richie Blackmore, Dio. Rod Evans. Let me look now. Now I'm freaking curious. What's the guy's name I'm thinking of? Deep Purple lead singers. Glenn Hughes is who I'm thinking of. Yep, Rod. Oh, Tommy Bolin was in there? Yeah, Glenn Hughes. Which Glenn Hughes... What other bands was he in? Oh, he also sang for Sabbath for a year, huh? So I don't even know this. Trapeze? Huh. I don't know. All I know is Glenn Hughes kicks ass. Yeah, he sang for Sabbath, but this was... When did he sing for Sabbath? 85, 86? Because Dio was singing after Ozzy left. Dio, I think, took over, right? Yeah, Glenn Hughes, dude. He's fucking sick. Tommy Bolin, though. Yeah, when was he... Oh, he was with the James Gang, too, huh? Yeah. So which album was Burn? I think it's Glenn Hughes. Deep Purple, Burn. Yeah, Glenn Hughes. Oh, Glenn Hughes was on bass and vocals, but they also had Coverdale, David Coverdale. Unknown lead singer, David Coverdale at the time. Dude, this fucking album right here, Burn. We got this on vinyl. This is the, like, sort of album that inspired Yngwie Malmsteen to play guitar, I'm pretty certain. Dude, this right here. This is like their faces made out of candles and they're burning. It's such a cool album. You gotta check it out. Okay. We're going Surf Candy with the... I'm going to be honest with you, I forgot. I wasn't even trying to do a Surf Candy. I was going to do that style, but I got so excited talking about Deep Purple that we ended up making a little Sand Eel Surf Candy with the Squimpish, which I'm all for. Yeah, dude, alright, that's it. I'm going to have to go on a kick and listen to some albums that I haven't listened to in years. I got to try and find that DVD of Richie Blackmore destroying the place, because that was also just a good concert. When he was still, like, not pissed off. Good times. Yeah, I actually got to see Deep Purple. Ian Gillan. No Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore left Deep Purple and joined Rainbow, I think. And I don't think he joined back up with Deep Purple ever again, right? Or maybe he did at some point and then left. But I saw it was God, why am I forgetting this guy's name? No, something Morse. Steve Morse, I believe. Yeah, Steve Morse, I think is his name. He plays the Ernie Balls. Saw him. That guy rips too, dude. I loved it. It was sick. Even without Richie Blackmore, it was still sick. Still a great concert. Would have loved to see Richie Blackmore play, you know, what do you call it? Space Truckin' or something. But losing a lot of the original guys. Yeah, they're getting old, dude, you know. Getting old, man. They were rocking back in 68 or whatever, right? Or 70s. Or that's. I'm getting old now, so. You know what I mean? Let's see. Blood pressure's a little high. Not dangerous, but high. Blood sugar is a little high. Cholesterol is high. First time I've been to a doctor in a while, so now we're gonna do some tests. Went to a cardiologist just to be safe, just to go. Cutting down on cheese, this and that. But yeah, getting old is I'm 34 and things are heading south real quick over here. Some other things as well. I don't know, whatever, but it was good. I hadn't been to a doctor in years, so it's good to go. But it's been a while. I was sitting there. I was like filling out these. I was like, man, I forgot how much BS is involved with healthcare nowadays. Good doctor, though. Nice doctor. He's the guy that caught my dad's colon cancer, so I trust him. Nice guy. Alright. Let's go ahead and get this all buttoned up here. Yeah, so I'm trying to... we eat pretty healthy. We don't eat out. We cook everything. But... trying to, some less White Claws, maybe lessen back on the amount of tobacco, stop eating as much, like, cheese. I don't really eat any sweets and stuff, but I do eat a lot of cheese. And I weigh 168 pounds, and I'm 5'11", so it's not like I'm overweight or anything. But I do like me some nice dairy products and stuff, so I got to cut back on some of that stuff. I could probably just ignore the doctor and keep doing whatever, but the guy seems like he knows what he's talking about, so I think it's probably a good idea to, listen to your cardiologist or something, so. So they're actually sending me to get a CAT scan. What they're going to do is inject dye into my blood, and then they're going to do a CAT scan of my arteries and my heart. And they're going to see if there's any plaque buildup or anything like that. And then if that's the case, I need to go on, possibly a medication or something. But if not, then you just adjust your diet some. But it's the plaque, or it's either plaque buildup or something, plates or something that can build up and restrict the blood flow, for instance. So, not good. But again, I don't, it's not like I eat McDonald's. I don't eat fast food. I don't eat out or anything like that. I don't even eat necessarily that bad. But, could be genetics, all sorts of stuff. There was a time where I was like 200 plus, but the doctor was like, how did you lose all that weight? How are you 168 pounds? And at some point you were 220 or something years ago. And it was like, probably cigarettes, rolling durries. But also I just, I don't have money to eat out. I don't eat out all the time. I save money and stopped drinking certain beers and things like that. I stopped eating ice cream and, certain things. I used to eat a lot of sweets. I stopped eating that. I was like, yeah, I'm just going to stop, Might have a little something here or there, but I would I used to put down some, get blitzed on the hookah lounge floor, and next thing you know, you can put half a carton of ice cream down, no problem. You know, little Ben and Jerry's or something, slam that sucker down. So I just pretty much stopped eating all that stuff. But really, the big thing is, like, I was in a relationship. I was eating out all the time, you know, getting like food from the Italian place close by and this and that, eating parms and, you know, yada yada yada. So if you cook for yourself, or, you know, you at home meals and you do it right, you know, you can end up, that really makes a difference, I think. But some of my buddies, they order out everything. I don't know. It's so expensive nowadays. I couldn't even imagine, dude, how much. Like, if you order out, you get like DoorDash or something for like lunch and dinner. I feel like you got to be spending close to like, what, at least $60, $70, $80 for the day just to eat. That's crazy, dude. You give me a couple of pieces of bread and some jar of peanut butter, we'll make that last all week. You know? You're talking to a fly tire. All right, I got to find the meme to show you guys real quick. Hold on. I don't know how I'm going to find this. I really don't know how I'm going to find this. Dude, I don't think I can, but essentially it was the meme from essentially like an evangelical church guy, and he's like, I make $0, zilch, nada, nothing. And they're like, well, baby Billy, why do you do it? He's like, I do it out of the kindness of my own heart. And it says, it's like, commercial fly tires be acting like, and it shows that. If somebody can find that, I did post it in the Discord, but it was a story, so it's probably long gone. I want to take a look real quick. It's making me sign in, dude. Instagram, I gotta sign in to use it. So dumb. Anyways, if anyone finds that meme, for the love of God, post it in Discord, because it is so freaking good. It's from the show Jules, or whatever. What's the name of that show with the guy from Eastbound and Down? And they're like, they're part of it, like a evangelical, like church where they're like, you know, one of those super churches where they're like, we need you to give us all your money and we'll cure your blindness, you know, that sort of thing. Some show, I forgot what it's called, but it's a character in that. It's the guy David Goggins, is that his name or something? Goggins, I think his name is. Walton Goggins. Yeah, this guy right here. He played in that one show. What's the name of the show? Righteous Gemstones. That's what it is. Righteous Gemstones. And it's a fly fishing meme. Let me look it up. Righteous Gemstones fly tying meme. Maybe it'll just pop up. There is some memes, but it's not the right ones. I hate this, of course. I'm never gonna find it, but Baby Billy. Yeah, that's not something Google will be able to find, I think. But I'll keep an eye out. I see people recirculating it. You know, Instagram is just people stealing other people's stuff and posting it as their own, as always. So, I don't know whose original thing it is. I saw Flyskins post it, and I shared it, but... Alright. Let's go ahead and, yeah, anyway, little surf candy with the Squimpish hair. I think that's a good time. We'll wrap it up. We almost hit the 3 hours mark. Let's go ahead, pull up our marble race. We got one more marble race to do for the night. And thank you so much, everybody, hanging out and watching. Let's go ahead and get some marble music going, baby. Hopefully I didn't get too off track today. We were kind of jumping all over, but... Alright. Let's see. What do we got? So all you got to be doing is following the channel on Twitch, !play. For anybody watching on YouTube, on Sunday we have a video coming out. Last video of the month. I'll give you guys a sec here. You can hop on in. Cause some chaos. Hell yeah. We'll get the marble music going. Oh, dude, my back is shot. Oh, so that was something I was talking to the doctor about, too. He was like, oh, you ever thought about pain medication? I said, nope. I said, I know, dude. I went to high school with a buddy of mine. He's living in the woods right now because of pain medication. So, nope. Unfortunately, Oxycodone and things like that, dude, that stuff is bad. I refuse to touch that stuff. I'd rather have back pain than... I literally... Multiple people I unfortunately know from... Lost some friends in high school and stuff like that, so... I made that very clear. I'm like, write that in your chart, so nobody asked me that one again. Yeah, exactly, Slim Thunder. Well, I told him, I was like, hey, cannabis, baby. CBD, THC... Heaven match made for me. You know? My cardiologist said it'd be better to eat edibles, but he said, yeah, I'm not going to stop you, so you're good. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, my cardiologist is like, I'm not going to tell you it's good to smoke weed, but, you know, cigarettes are definitely way worse, but... He's like, I'm all for edibles. Alright. In case anyone's wondering, it's all legal in New York, so you don't gotta worry about it. Alright, let's get this marble race going, shall we? Supposedly they say nicotine is good for you now. Maybe just nicotine, I don't know. You know, the one thing is with cigarettes is especially like pre-rolled cigarettes in general, or processed tobaccos, they spray it with like, what is it, like 10,000 chemicals on a freaking Marlboro or something like that, you know what I mean? You got fiberglass filters and, you know, it's like... But, I mean, smoking anything can't be good for you, your lungs in general, so... I feel like I'm definitely having it definitely had an effect on me. Like, this is one of the things, like, I want to stop smoking tobacco just because I feel like it definitely, has had somewhat of an effect on me, but it's not like I'm like dying or something, or I can't breathe, or I can't run, but you know, I definitely feel like smoking over the tobacco, over the you know, roll my own cigarettes for, like, let's say, I don't know, it's been 5, 6, 7 years now or something, maybe, or maybe less, probably like 5, 6 years. Definitely seems like it had an effect. Meanwhile, cannabis was 20 years. Holy shit. You prefer the edibles? Yeah. Yeah, putting anything in your lungs ain't the best. Yo, O'Reilly Lima, how you doing? What is the channels on Twitcher? It's same thing, LI Flies Mike. I'll give you a second if you want to hop over. Now, YouTube, they're like, yeah, dude, whatever, who cares? If that was like me saying, oh yeah, come over to whatever from Twitch, and it'd be like, ban! Yeah. Twitch.tv/LI Flies Mike. Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, it's all LI Flies Mike. And then type !play, name it. I'll give you a sec here. But, yeah, I mean, chat, I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. I'm going to wrap it up after this race. Good day of, you know, me rambling, as always, and You guys sitting there and listening to it all, so I appreciate that. Not all of you leaving, so. Let me see if I could probably just put it in the chat, actually. Let me see. That should be it, right? Right there. Or Lima. Let's see, did that work? Oh yeah, I can't post links like that in YouTube. I probably have to like, I don't even know, can you post any links? I guess with Nightbot you could. You could just copy paste it or whatever. All right, come on, Lima. I can't put. Oh, you can't? Why can't you type in the chat? Is it because you're brand new or something? I can't put I play. I don't have something that you can't type right away, right? In Twitch chat? Nah. Maybe? No. No, I don't have anything where you had to been like following to type. No. Okay. I'm trying, it's not allowing me. I don't know. Oh, you gotta wait 24 hours these days, I think? Really? Oh, is this like a brand new Twitch account you just made, Lima? Oh, then that might be the case. Let's stop like bots and shit. If that's what happened, then yeah. If you don't have a Twitch account, then you can't interact at all or anything, so. I mean, it's free and all, but. Ah, there you go, Lima. You're in there. Cool. All right, let's get this sucker started. There you go. Ah, I thought I was going to say, I remember seeing you on Twitch before at some point. All right, chat. Good luck. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I hope you folks have an awesome weekend. And first marble in the pit's going to win some flies. Except for Jin. Jin already won. Can't win twice in a month. I feel like we did it once and everybody was outraged. We were like, all right, we can't do that again. Oh. Southern Fly Guy, he said, I tasted victory last time. I'm getting it this time. You best believe it. What's the track anyway? Oh, dude, the track's like a single straight line, but with barriers. But of course, the tire hooligans back set up a row of tires in the way. Southern Fly Guy looking good. Jin clearing the line for some folks. We got Colin Lima. Thunder Doc. Craggerroll far behind. He's still in his flip-flops that he was wearing in India. Is this literally just going to be freaking tires the whole way? All right, this is RNG. Good luck, chat. This is all pure RNG and a little bit of skill. Colin found his way through the tires. Oh, he found his way through the tires, making the lead. But guess what? You think you had a lead? There's another stack of Goodyears right in the way. Mixing the Guinness with the White Claws, it does happen. Another stack of Goodyears in the way. Llama says, not today. Goes right around it. There's 2 more obstacles left. The tire track. Lima, beautiful lead. Has it started? Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck! Damn it, Jerry! You've just been auditing it. I mean, you've just listened to the audio. You guys didn't miss anything. It was a bunch of, he doesn't know we can't see. No, professional streamer. It all comes down to this, folks. The last set of tires. A straight line with nothing but tires. You missed nothing the whole time. This is what's been happening. Somebody's in the lead, and then they hit another stack of Goodyears. But Lima, Slim Thunder, Doc, Jin. Jin's out. Who can hit the boosters first? We got even more tires? Even more tires. This is the real race. This is all that matters. The last 6 seconds. It's going to come down to this. Lima, Collins. Oh, and Colin got it. The other marble was a ghost marble. By a millisecond, beating Lima out by a sea hair. Colin, congratulations. Round of applause. Now we can hit the sound effects, Jerry. Thank you. Also, Jerry, we're going to have to talk later, right? You telling me you didn't have the camera on the whole time? So that was 0.6 of a second. Congratulations, Colin. Good race all around, folks. Good race all around. Except for me and Jerry, that's on us. I take full responsibility. Thank God I looked at the chat. Thank God I looked at the chat. Because I was so, like, focused in on the marble race. And I look over and they're like, you guys were talking about how you couldn't see it. Oh, God, don't make me laugh. 20 lashes for Jerry. No, we're just going to have to dock his pay a little bit. You know what I mean? That's all. That's all. All right, chat. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching. Professional streamer here. I'm glad I read chat every once in a while. So that's good. By 3 milliseconds. Yeah, that's right. So what I need from you, Mr. Collins, milliseconds. Yes. Not seconds. What I need from you is a shipping address. So either via our Discord, which you don't have to join. You could also DM me here on Twitch, or you can message me on Instagram. Really, the best way is on Twitch, so I could see your username. But I don't think we've ever had anyone impersonate another winner yet. I'm still waiting for the day that somebody wins, and then somebody else is like, dude, you know what? I'm just going to act like the other person and send them an email or and be like, hey, it was me. And then they get the fly, and then like a week later, some dude's like, yo, I forgot, by the way, dude, this is my email. This is my shipping address. And I get bamboozled. It hasn't happened yet. So you can also hit me up on Instagram. But I just need your shipping address, so. And we'll send you a fly. Possibly one of the ones that were tied tonight. So, all right. Exclamation mark Discord for that. Exclamation mark Instagram or IG, I think it is, for that. And if not, you can always just DM me on Twitch. So, all right, chat. You guys have an awesome night. You take it easy. I'm gonna clean up and put these materials away and whatnot. So, thank you so much for hanging out. And to everyone on Twitch, have an awesome weekend. To everyone on YouTube, have an awesome weekend. To everyone watching the VOD, if you end up watching this and you make it this far, you're a freaking legend. If you're watching a 3-hour Fly Time VOD, by the way, you're the MVPs. So, but thank you again to Jin, by the way, with 76 months. We have Fly Guy with 12 months. Insane Clown Posse fan. We'd love to see it. Love to see it. And we'll see you guys. All right. You have an awesome night. And DM me on Discord. Okay, I'll keep an eye open for it. All right. We'll see you guys. All right, later. Have a great week.